Rates are at near 3-year lows. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A little bit hotter this afternoon than it was yesterday. Our highs are in the low 90s under partly cloudy skies, and the humidity is beginning to creep up too. Overnight tonight, warm and muggy with a low of 70. Hot and humid for Friday with a high of 95 and a good chance for afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 120 points today to 51,969.
The Hornets didn't go into this offseason saying, hey, we're going to trade LaMelo Ball. He's at the peak of his value. When teams like Minnesota, Toronto start making offers and bidding, you have to listen.
Charlotte is here. They got Con Knipple. He had a brilliant rookie year. They have Brandon Miller. They drafted 2 guys in the teens the other night. They, I think, saw an opportunity. I don't think they were like, we got to get rid of LaMelo Ball. Right. He missed 95 games the previous 2 years. For Charlotte, this is a pivot to Con Knipple as their franchise player.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. This week has been a funhouse mirror. You look at sports news, and it's in the funhouse mirror. Something is that you weren't expecting is big. Something that you were expecting to be really important is completely glossed over. This entire week has gone crazy, and I wish I could say I tipped you off that maybe the Hornets would trade after the first round. But I thought they might use some first-rounders to trade. Instead, they traded away LaMelo Ball. It is an insane couple of days. We'll have to dissect it as best as we can. I'm Tim Donnelly. Max Gorin once again producing the show today. And as always, and amongst all the craziness, something you can depend on is Manor Service Company, who presents the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Manor Service Company presenting the Big 3 at 3. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work. Service you can trust, ManorServices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. LaMelo Ball traded to the Timberwolves. Yesterday on the show, I did say, like, you know, the second half of last year, everybody wanted to jump in with the Charlotte Hornets. Well, I wonder if this isn't going to perhaps be a detriment to the buzz, no pun intended, that they were growing. Because the second half of last year was fun. And a big part of that was LaMelo Ball. And now LaMelo Ball was traded away, and I can give you the details. It's LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid, a 6'10 big guy, 6'9 big guy, depending where you look. A 2033 unprotected first-round pick. Max, what's the math on that? Is that guy like 6.5 years old right now?
Adam Gold says it's a sixth grader.
A sixth grader. Okay, that's fair. If it's probably early eligibility, could be as old as sophomore if they extend out to late college.
Well, actually, so is it rising sixth grader or just finished sixth grade? That's kind of important.
Well, I don't know if you know this. You probably don't because you don't have kids. People are now repeating eighth grade quite a bit. So
reclassing.
Yeah, there's some new stuff going on there. 3 first-round pick swaps in 2028, 2029, and 2030, but it's way more complicated than that. Way more teams involved. I'll later in the show, I'll try to sort through that. Also, 3 second-round picks, 2029, 2032, and 2033. Did you get all that? Everybody, did you take notes? Everybody aware of how that goes? The only issue, I don't have an issue with them trading LaMelo Ball, okay? If you're not confident in the foundation of your team, and he was a foundational piece, you can appear further along in your build than you actually are. You should not start building the penthouse until you're really confident in the foundation. And if they weren't, you have to be willing to move. It's bold, but and you might lose your job over a move like this if you're calling the shots. But if you don't believe in the foundation, you have to move on, and I actually kind of respect the conviction. The issue I have is it felt quick. If I'm trading, I mean,
very quick.
Would you call LaMelo Ball franchise player? He was
borderline.
The face of the franchise.
Yeah.
If you're trading the face of a franchise, I'm not even entertaining the possibility of doing it quickly unless it's an ultimate Godfather you can't refuse offer, and this was not. LaMelo Ball may not be loved by everybody. I guarantee you there are 4 teams out there that think he could help, and you needed to bidding war this thing. Right, like late last night, all of the, hey, you know, they're shopping him, they're entertaining calls. It should have taken a week after that. It should have taken a week, at least, to make sure you're drumming up as much as you possibly can. And if you completely botch it, all you do is keep the group that turned around your franchise in the second half of last year and add to it with a couple of young rookies that you drafted in the first round. The quickness makes me think you didn't get max value. So once you decide you're going to move on from LaMelo, or once you decide you're a little bit leery of him as a foundational piece, yeah, okay, start the process of the move, and then it's all about value. It's not do you like the trade versus how much you valued LaMelo. It's do you like the trade versus what everyone else was willing to offer for LaMelo, and I don't know if you can do that in like 14 hours.
Yeah, it's hard to fully break down like the full implications and like what this means for each of those teams in the immediate aftermath like this. That hasn't stopped a lot of people online from absolutely crashing out and freaking out. I think there's a video of a dude in Charlotte saying this is like if the Bulls traded Michael Jordan. I was like, okay, let's calm down. There was also an article. There's an article you referenced. We were talking earlier. Somebody wrote an article about how this is worse than the Luka Doncic trade for the Dallas Mavericks.
They said it was starting to feel like the Luka Doncic trade.
Luka Doncic, by the way, was like the youngest All-NBA ever or something like that. All-NBA like 4 or 5 times. LaMelo Ball has 1 All-Star appearance, so let's keep that in mind. I'm cool with them trading him for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Very inconsistent health.
Yep.
Had a healthy season this past year. Played 72 games. That's only the second time he's played that many in his 6-year career so far. They could have gotten more. There's no doubt about that. The fact that the first like straight up first round pick they're getting isn't until 2033 is a little disappointing. I really like Naz Reid as a player though. I'm really happy that they got him as part of this deal. And again, like I'm fine with the move. They clearly believe a lot in Kobe White. They've already signed or agreed to a contract extension for him, like an hour and a half after the trade broke. So in theory, he'll be the starting point guard. But I can't help but feel like with all the assets they've acquired, they're probably going to make some more moves in this offseason.
We'll see. The hard part about all these pick swaps is they are difficult to trade because, you don't know what pick it is, or you don't even know whose pick. You don't know who you're betting against in a lot of these cases if you acquire any of these picks that are already involved in pick swaps. But I want to make sure that they aren't completely and totally maybe – let me think of how to say this. Lulled into thinking that rookies show up and play like Con Knipple. Like, Con Knipple is unusual with how he showed up and was pro-ready right away. And this feels like they're throwing a lot on the 18th pick, Christian Anderson's shoulders. Because even Kobe White, who's, like you said, got paid, expected to be the starting point guard, he's a guy that creates for himself. He's a guy that he's not exactly just feeding shooters. Christian Anderson can shoot as well, but did a little diving today. He 7 assist guy in Houston and made some plays for his teammates. I don't know if you expect guys to just show up and go like, hey, you know what? We'll move on from LaMelo because we're just going to draft a guy, and that's been working. Brandon Miller showed up and was pretty good. Con Knipple showed up and was pretty good. And it's like, well, those guys were top 5 picks and also pretty rare even for top 5 picks how pro-ready they were. We'll see. All I can tell you is this. Expect the unexpected in the trade market in North Carolina right now. We'll get to some of that later on. That's number 1. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
The NBA draft, aside from that trade, also finished up yesterday. The second round finished up. Isaiah Evans from Duke was the 3rd pick of the second round to Minnesota, where, with trades, by the way, where he and LaMelo Ball could connect a little bit. Not bad. I mean, if you're going to fall to the second round, if you're Isaiah Evans, you're going to be upset about it. You're going to be frustrated, I'm sure. But once you get past that, it's not a bad spot for him to land. There's going to be a lot of offensive creation there. Obviously, you get to some of the guys down low that they have. They'll be able to protect him defensively a little bit early on, especially if he's getting bullied due to being a little light. There's a good opportunity there for Isaiah Evans. Malik Brown from Duke goes ahead of Henry Vasar. Malik Brown goes with the 14th pick of the second round to San Antonio. Is that not just an ultimate San Antonio pick? And in the second round, I wonder if a smart franchise like San Antonio, if they don't draft guys you're drafting for a role player, right? Because how often do second round picks turn into superstars? So don't worry about the superstar traits. Find somebody who you know can go in there and fill a role. And Malik Brown, with his length, with his defensive ability, you draft a role player that can contribute. Veteran. And then Henry Vasar, as I mentioned, goes a little bit later, number 22 to Atlanta. I will add the caveat that in the second round, sometimes there's some posturing behind the scenes. The difference between 22nd pick of the second round and 10th pick of the second round sometimes is an agent would rather have you go to the team drafting 22nd. So keep that in mind. But that's a long fall for Henry Vasar. That's a long fall. I think he'll have opportunities in Atlanta to prove himself, but that's what a second-round pick has to do. You have to go prove yourself, where in a lot of cases, first-round picks come in and it's almost the reverse. You have to prove that you're not worthy of opportunities because they've invested so much in you. When you're the 22nd pick of the second round, you have to prove that you are worth opportunities, or else they'll, stash you and not pay a lot of attention to you. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Oh, Carolina Hurricanes fans, if you want to live forever and ever in the glory and the unmoved life following a Stanley Cup, cover your ears. The latest on Alexander Nikishin's trade market. Yesterday, we read the tweet from TSN hockey insider Darren Dreger that said, multiple teams have confirmed Carolina is considering a trade involving Alexander Nikishin. He is a restricted free agent, so the Canes are weighing trade interest versus extension. Today, Darren Dreger added strong market circling Alexander Nikishin, upwards of 6 teams in the mix. His contract ask is clearly a major factor. there's a lot that goes into these things. Yesterday we did some fun games involving the NHL trade market because part of that fun house I was talking about is the NHL trade market. Guys are moving and going, and picks are moving and going, and cash considerations are moving and going, and contracts are moving and going, and it's all crazy. So we had some fun with it, and basically what we settled on as the main qualifier is every trade comes with context. And talking earlier, and there were a few people part of this conversation, Adam Gold, Max were amongst them. I recalled a few fan favorites for the Carolina Hurricanes that moved on, mostly free agent, talking like the Brady Sheas of the world, where when you heard they were leaving, Canes fans were, oh my gosh, he's one of the heart and soul, he's one of the rebuilders, how? And then you see the contract he signs at his next spot, and you go, oh, I get it. Oh, okay, yeah, we shouldn't have paid him that much, dodged a bullet, and the whole vibe changes. I'm wondering if that might not happen with Nikishin, where right now just him being in trade talks has everybody twisted up into a contortioned pretzel, and you're uncomfortable with it. I'm wondering if a trade happens. That's still a big if. It's not going to happen for sure. If a trade happens and he signs a ludicrous extension or a high average annual per year extension, if Canes fans don't go, what? They traded him? How? Oh, I get it. No, I see how much. Yeah, they weren't going to pay that much for that guy. And then we have a different look on it.
Yeah, I think the contract discussion and negotiation is at the centerpiece of this whole thing, especially given the sticking points there have been between the agent and the front office in the past. So I wonder if they're able to reach a resolution on that and bring him back, or if it will be ultimately a move. Apparently, Elliot Friedman said earlier today that in terms of this trade market, Carolina would like to get a player back in the deal, not just draft compensation, if they are to trade him. So we'll see how that all plays out. I mean, it's already taken longer than the LaMelo Ball trade saga. So
I don't have a problem with Canes front office. Matter of fact, I very much trust them in their evaluation, especially of defensemen. I would agree with them, though. Getting a player back, I don't think you move Nikishin for more magic beans. I think he is a really, really high-value magic bean that might grow into a beanstalk if you catch the reference. But I do think if you can trade him for a beanstalk, if you can trade him for an already formed star, even if you have to throw more on because they do have resources, they do have picks and prospects, that would be the move I would explore. But if you got a market, you got 6+ teams, upwards of 6, you can get a little bidding war going, right? Play one against the other. That's what I would try to do, as everyone. I'm not unique there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Guess what, everybody? After all our complaining, the North Carolina Tar Heels and the NC State Wolfpack will play each other 2 times this year, college basketball. I'll explain why next.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Because you guys do everything for the exterior of your home, these things can add up. And there are a lot of people who think, I can't afford this. How can the Aluminum Company make it easier?
Yeah, well, Adam, we have plans that are 12 months, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 12 months, which make it super affordable for people to do anything on their home, whether it's windows, siding, doors, roofing, gutters, any kind of exterior home improvement. The Aluminum Company has financing plans that can fit in your budget and make it easy.
So wait a second. I can get everything done, no interest, and no payments for 12 months?
Yeah, and you get a lifetime warranty once the project's done.
I get a lifetime warranty once the project is done?
Yes, sir.
What about my down payment?
No down payment, no
What?
deposit.
No down payment, no deposit.
No payment until the project's done.
No payment till the project's done.
Exactly.
Where do I sign up? Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Hi, friends. This is Mark Pons from Chapel Hill Tire. Your life is busy. Between work, family, and everything else on your calendar, finding time for car care isn't always easy. That's why, starting July 11th, our University Place and Crabtree locations will be open Saturdays from 8 to 5. Whether you need tires, maintenance, or repairs, you'll now have more flexibility to take care of your car when it works best for you. It's just one more way we're working to make automotive service a little easier. Schedule your Saturday appointment at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can gift to a child.
This is the time for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, the conference that I've grown up a diehard fan of, expanded to include a couple of West Coast teams, Stanford and Cal, a Texas team and SMU, they had to rework their basketball schedule, especially when it became obvious that the net rankings rewarded more creative and aggressive non-conference scheduling. They couldn't play 5,000 conference games a year. I did not think at the time, although maybe my antennas should have been up, that the way they would elect to structure their schedules would eliminate some of the best games on the calendar in the ACC that should and had been played every year for darn near a century. Yet, when those schedules came out, their structure did include eliminating the home and away NC State UNC games. They would play it once. It would eliminate things like NC State Duke being played home and away. It would eliminate things like Duke Wake being played every year home and away. It would eliminate some of the best games. And even other rivalries that maybe matter less to us here. Things like Virginia Tech Miami, which goes back to their Big East days. Like those things were only going to be played once a year. And it was so unbelievably frustrating because it was the most obvious form of they've completely ignored the fan part of this. Well, UNC and NC State have gotten together, and shout out to Pac Power for having this first. They've gotten together and decided that they're going to play this year in a non-conference game in Greensboro. A non-conference game between two legendary conference rivals. They'll play a non-conference game because that's the only way they're going to play each other twice. Now, I want to give credit to Michael Malone and Justin Gainey because they showed up and already, just a couple months into their head coaching tenures, understand how important it is to build, like a rivalry is a brand in and of itself, right? It is something that you want to have for your players. It's actually not good for the ACC that this game is being played because you need your non-conference winning percentage to be as high as it possibly can for net rankings reasons, and this is a guaranteed 50% win percentage, right? Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, and both of those will go on the ACC's non-conference record. And that's not great, but it far pales in comparison to the good it will do for fan and player experience. These games should be the most protected conference games on the schedule. And if the ACC isn't going to protect them, the schools have to, and that's at a detriment to whoever else in the ACC isn't going to benefit from the non-conference boost in winning percentage. And now you may be saying, well, that sounds like bad business. I actually think it's good business. What do I mean by that? If I'm a broadcast partner, who would I rather have on my television network? NC State Cal, which is they play each other home and away during the conference schedule, or NC State UNC? NC State UNC. And I know they play once, but how about this? I'm big on storytelling being the most important thing for leagues, and it's when I talk about how the NHL can get more popular, when I talk about how soccer can get more popular, when I talk about how any league can get more popular, I always say the first thing you have to do is tell the stories of the players. Would anybody care, looking at the Canes, would anybody care about, Jalen Chatfield holding the cup if you didn't understand that he's a waiver claim and he went undrafted and he's played his way and worked his way and achieved his way all the way up to being a top pair alongside Jacob Slavin in the playoffs? Now, all of a sudden, when somebody passes him the cup, you're excited. You're in it because you understand the stories. Now think of that from a scheduling concept. What if Carolina and NC State play the first time, meaning the first on their schedule, which, until they announced or revealed, Pac Power reported that they're going to play twice, the only time, and it goes to overtime, and a player is ejected for a controversial fifth foul with 2 minutes to play. Not ejected, is fouled out with a controversial fifth foul with 2 minutes to play, and that team ends up losing. The next time, the second time they play, blockbuster, right? That everybody's talking about it. Heck, before the game that they played before the second game, reporters are saying, are you worried about overlooking this one and paying attention to the NC State UNC game, which is coming up a week from now? Coaches have to talk about it. Well, I don't talk about the refs, but if I had something to say about the refs, that call was nonsense. Like that it becomes a storyline that you track throughout the year. And if you don't get to play it again, it becomes a real bummer.
It's not even factoring in the bad blood of like Matt Abel transferring from NC State to Carolina. He won't have to face the NC State crowd at home at the Lenovo Center, but my guess is there will be plenty of red representing out at Greensboro Coliseum for this game, which is December 15th. And while it does kind of mark like how far the ACC has fallen, that they had to go through these hoops to schedule this second game, like this game is about as North Carolinian as it gets.
Oh, absolutely.
Carolina versus State at Greensboro Coliseum. All that's missing is Bojangles as the title sponsor, which some people are clamoring for online as well.
I mean, get Duke and Wake involved and play it there and go old school Big Four. Make it super Carolina. Super. Listen, think about it. I'm trying to think back to last year. Carolina beat Duke, right? And that's a national, always going to be protected game. Carolina beat Duke, and then before the quote unquote rematch, Caleb Wilson got hurt, and even that took away some of the sizzle. Imagine if they didn't play that second game at all. That's the kind of stuff that's been happening to State and UNC. They don't get that second chapter, and oftentimes the second chapter is the most buzzworthy. So thank you to Carolina. Thank you to NC State for saying this might not be what's best for our net ranking, or saying, this might not be what's best for the ACC. Now one of us isn't going to be as attractive a trophy to put on the wall if Boston College upsets us, and that's not great for the Atlantic Coast Conference as a whole, but it's what is right. It's what is right. Forget the math. Do what's right. And I love that it's Michael Malone and Justin Gainey, right? They showed up and said, no, let's have some common sense here. Like, let's not protect. Let's not be afraid. Let's schedule the teams that the fans want to see. Let's go out there and get it done. Now you got to go win. Let's not get it carried away, right? You got to go win if you want to have the boost, if you want to have your alumni love it. But, it's another chance to win. And also, I would say there's the two best times to fundraise are after a big win over a rival and after a big loss to a rival. Because when you fundraise, you go out and you say, like, if you never want that to happen again, they out-resourced us. And if you win, you go and say, you want that to happen again? Give me the money. I've shown you I know how to do it. It's just good for the sport. It's good for narratives. It's good for darn near everything. Shout out to him. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Kalshi. It's another day with a whole bunch of games in the world's biggest soccer tournament, and you can trade on not only each of those games, every match, but also the entire tournament on Kalshi from the opening stage all the way to the final. If you're looking at it right now, to win the whole darn thing, to be the last team standing, the United States is trading at about 4.5%, which means a $100 trade would pay out over $2,000. There's also many other markets, stage of elimination, goal scorers, individual awards, the whole thing. You can go out and check those percentages and check the trades. What you should know is on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So if the United States has a big win tonight against Turkiye and everybody gets on board and their percentage to win it all goes up, and you bought in at 4 point whatever percent, you might want to go in there, trade out of some of your position and cash those profits. For a limited time, right now, I can give you a little extra. Download the Kalshi app and use code TIMD. That's TIMD with no spaces to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restriction and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan comes back with the Dean's List next.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
It's Men's Health Month. Did you know men tend to develop cardiovascular risk earlier than many realize? New research suggests men begin showing significantly elevated heart disease risk as early as their mid-30s. Here's a health tip from Kraft Body Scan. Prevention shouldn't start after retirement age. Building healthy habits earlier, including exercise, strength training, stress management, and routine health evaluations, can dramatically improve long-term quality of life. Brought to you by craftbodyscan.com. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This song has gotten a lot of my buddies into a lot of trouble. They used to play this when I was playing in college on the Jumbotron. They would play that song and show us jump, like they brought in a mini trampoline to a photo shoot and we would jump up and down and they would show it on the Jumbotron, and then they would cut to show fans and they just had to jump up and down, and it was like a TV timeout thing. They would do it for a couple minutes, and our coach used to get furious if he caught anybody looking at the Jumbotron. But also, like, players are people too, right? And if you're making a fool of yourself on a Jumbotron in front of thousands of people, you're going to want to look up and go, how goofy am I? People used to just get caught by the strength and conditioning staff left and right. And if you were a starter, they wouldn't really, get in your way. But if you were a bench player and they saw you looking, they would just come up and say, hey, 5:30 Monday, see you in the weight room, and they'd write your name down. And if that just meant you had an awful Monday morning. A lot of times like a 25, maybe 45-pound plate straight up over your head as you're on the stair stepper, the Stairmaster for a half hour. Just brutal. All because you were goofy on a Jumbotron video. So every time I hear that song now, I'm like, look down. No eyes up, eyes down. Do not look into the stands. Just had a little flashback there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That, you could argue, is part of the joy of college sports, right? It's the community. You get to know your players. So let's go ahead and talk more about the joy of college sports and something we call the Dean's List. Dean's List, where we highlight those in the college sports world that we hold so near and dear here in the Triangle that are making waves, that deserve a little extra love or appreciation. I'll get us started. The ESPY nominations came out today, right? The most glorious awards in sports. Best college athlete, 2 from the Triangle are amongst the 4 nominees. 2 people. 1, Cameron Boozer, Duke basketball, right? Just drafted 3rd overall. He's having a good week. Then there's Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, number 1 NFL draft pick. There's Mitchell Messenbrink, a Penn State wrestler. And by the way, these are not in any kind of order. It's not like they're ranked this way. They're just the nominations. Number 4, Donovan Phillip, NC State soccer, gets the ESPY nom for Best College Athlete Men's Sports. So Cam Boozer, Donovan Phillip, both on that list. Should be really fun. Going to the ESPYs, I imagine, if you can make it there, you get all dressed up, you get to walk the red carpet, hobnob with the biggest in sport and entertainment. Pretty cool for them. Speaking of more players, or more player, another one that earned some nominations connected to the area. Drake May, former Carolina quarterback, obviously a North Carolina native, comes from one of the first families of Tar Heel athletics. He was nominated twice. He is in the nominees for Best NFL Player, alongside Matt Stafford, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Myles Garrett. He's also in the nominees for Best Breakthrough Athlete, alongside Fernando Mendoza, Alyssa Liu, figure skater, and Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks. Drake May, a couple of noms. So he's probably used to it a little bit more now. He gets invited to a lot of cool stuff, but good for him. Do you have some Dean's Listers you'd like to throw on here, Max?
Yeah, just to go back to what we were just talking about, NC State and UNC both making the Dean's List for giving the people what they want and scheduling a second matchup, a non-conference game in Greensboro, going to be at the First Horizon Coliseum. That'll be December 15th. I'm sure more details will be to come on that, but exciting to see them kind of rectifying the ACC's mistakes by adding a second game.
It's also a good move. I talk about this a lot, and coaches taking over a college program I think are similar to owners when they buy a new franchise, because you're the czar, right? You're the one that makes the decisions. Everything answers to you. I always say if I ever bought a pro franchise, and every day it's becoming less likely, but it's not 0.0. It's statistically 0.0. But if I ever did, the first thing I would do is look for 3 things that are universally approved, 100% approval rating. And I always say, like, the first thing I would do is throw a party that brings back all the legends and just put it on social media because people love legends. Next thing I would do is spend a bunch of money to have the best Wi-Fi in the world in my stadium, because who's not going to like that, having their phones actually work in a stadium with thousands of people. And then the other would probably be signing whatever is the best player fan favorite to an extension. Just do those 3 things and you're up. For Michael Malone and Justin Gainey, they took over, right? And they had to go all the way into recruiting. They had to go all the way into transfer portal because that conveyor belt slows down for no one. But this is nearly 100% approval, right? This is everybody wants this game to be held on a pedestal, to be a rivalry that continues to play twice a year. This is like a real easy win, right? You go in, you make this announcement is one that everybody should enjoy. So it's smart to get a couple of decision-making wins under your belt early. More Dean's List. Oh, I can throw UNC basketball on there again for a scheduling decision. UNC basketball taking on Illinois in Nashville, January 30th at the Bridgestone Arena, which is where the Nashville Predators play.
I'm pretty sure NC State is going to play a non-conference game in Nashville as well against Tennessee, so both programs going out there to play.
That makes a little bit more sense.
Non-con neutral site game. Less of a neutral site game playing against Tennessee, but
yeah, but also for quad purposes, it is a neutral site game.
I like that arena a lot. I went for the semifinals of the SEC tournament this past year. Mm-hmm. It's a nice arena. I like it. Kind of good sized seats, and it's cool. It's right on Broadway there. So if you're a fan of Carolina or NC State and you haven't been to Nashville, I would highly suggest looking into going out there for the game because it's a fun experience.
Nashville is a heck of a city for a lot of reasons. But I obviously, and I like UNC going like big program, Big Ten, non-conference. Win those, and it really helps the ACC, like a lot. You win those big non-conference games, you steal essentially net rankings points from one of the other really good conferences in the country, and you bring them back to the ACC, to where every team that wins or loses to Carolina either isn't hurt as much by the loss or is helped more by the win because Carolina beat Illinois. So, you're out there fighting for everybody when you go into these big non-conference games, and I like that they're scheduled.
They got the matchup that would have been if NC State if UNC were able to get past VCU in the first round of the tournament. These two would have played I believe, ironically, or I was going to say Greensboro. It was Greenville, but this was the matchup that we were deprived of when VCU defeated Carolina in the first round. Now they will get their chance. Illinois should be pretty good again this upcoming year. I don't think they lost too much talent. Obviously, they lost Keaton Wagler, who was a top 5 pick, but they're bringing back a decent amount of scoring and experience next year, and Brad Underwood will have them going again. So that should be a good matchup. Should be a decently important game in terms of like bracketology and seeding at that point as well in late January.
I believe Stojakovic is still there, and that guy impressed the heck out of me during his ACC run. So you're familiar with him, but it's not going to be easy. One more Dean's List here for you. I'm putting UNC baseball. They need some good news here. ESPN updated their transfer portal rankings in baseball, which is exceptionally active. Like transfer portal in baseball, people bounce all over the place. Same as most sports. But they have Jamie Laskovsky. Did my best pronouncing that. A shortstop transferring in from William and Mary to Carolina, to the Tar Heels, as the 7th best transfer in the country. They also have James Voorhees, a right-handed pitcher, transferring from Cal State Northridge to Carolina as the 21st best player in the ESPN college baseball transfer portal rankings. So we talked earlier this week, obviously Carolina wasn't able to finish the job and win the national championship against Oklahoma. And then there's a good amount of people on that roster that either exhausted their eligibility, be drafted, like they're going to have to replace some. It helps to have some studs coming in the portal to do that. And then if you're wondering, State fans out there, there was also one incoming transfer to North Carolina State, to NC State. The number 32 overall, Andrew Raymond, a catcher, is transferring from Mississippi State to NC State. So I guess we'll throw them on there a little bit as well. That's it for the Dean's List here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. There's so much going on in the sports world for the late June. There's normally a dead period, but nothing is dead around here. With that being said, when we come back, LaMelo Ball, I don't know if you heard, face of the Charlotte Hornets, is now like the 4th face of the Minnesota Timberwolves. A gigantic trade. What does it mean for Charlotte? Future? Current? Stick around. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work. They are basically, like a home court advantage, if you will. In your house, you want to know everything's working. You want to have the best of the best, right? You don't want to be getting visitor locker room vibes where nothing works and the hot water doesn't work and the air conditioner doesn't work. You want home court advantage. Maynard Service Company guarantees that at your house. Heating system, cooling system, plumbing, electrical. If something is giving you visitor locker room vibes, give them a call. That means they're not working. If they just need a little maintenance, give Maynard Service Company a call. 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. Now, we'll talk about that LaMelo Ball trade when we come back. Stick around.
Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes, winners of the 2026 Stanley Cup. They fought hard all year and have reached the top. Great work on an incredible season. Brought to you by Smith Anderson Law Firm, where winning performance meets over a century of trusted counsel.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper. They're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
I feel like I am special, that I'm receiving an award for being an athlete.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Is this the LaMelo Ball anthem now with Minnesota there? If you missed,
you need to stay up out the streets. I mean, yeah, that is LaMelo Ball.
Oh, because it's a driving joke. This is
that wasn't even intentional, but it is now.
I didn't know where you were going with it. Just in case, and by the way, the LaMelo Ball trade, you literally could have missed if you work a late shift.
Yeah, if you slept in and if you went to bed at 11 and slept in until 10.
You could have completely missed the whole deal. But you woke up to a world where LaMelo Ball is no longer a Charlotte Hornet. And it's crazy because first of all, I do think Charlotte this year made inroads in the sports fandom in Carolina, right? They obviously at one point in time back in the day, they were higher on the priority list of sports fandom in the state of North Carolina. And then they slowly and then kind of in giant steps gave away that real estate to darn near any other sport in the state. They were growing, though. They were building back. They were getting fans. They had people all on the inside there, right? They were making inroads. This feels like they're giving a lot back. LaMelo Ball, I don't believe, was the best player on the team, right? But I will say this, he was the most famous. The casual fan, somebody who's our ticket's cheap tonight? Yeah, let's go to the Hornets game. They're going and expecting to see LaMelo Ball. So taking him away may be, and I'm open to the interpretation. It may be the right move for the future of the team on the basketball court, but it is going to inherently change what the casual fan thinks of when the Charlotte Hornets are mentioned. If you want the details of the trade, I can try. They're trading LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick. I'm going to just say the easy parts first, okay? So Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, and 3 second-round picks, which come in 2029, 2032, and 2033. That's the kind of cut and dry portion of the trade. Then there are also 3 first-round pick swaps, which means the Hornets will have the option to switch to more favorable picks. The best I can tell, 2028 is a straight pick swap. Charlotte will receive the better pick out of the Hornets and the Timberwolves first rounder in 2028. 2029 is pure chaos. The Hornets already might own Minnesota's first round pick because they own the least favorable of Utah, Cleveland, and Minnesota picks. And the top of those picks, I believe, is already spoken for as well for either Utah or Cleveland, which means Charlotte, if they finish out of Utah, Cleveland, and Minnesota, and Charlotte in 2029 with the 4th best or 3rd best pick of that group, they can trade their pick to the 2nd best pick. Do that math. And then in 2030, the Hornets get the opportunity to swap with the least favorable pick of Spurs, Dallas, and Minnesota. So if the Hornets pick is better than those three, there will be no switching. If they are the least favorable, if they are the fourth favorable of those 4 picks, they can move up to third favorable of those 4 picks. It is ridiculous. I don't know how much value that actually pertains to. And if you have a time machine, go forward, come back, tell us how much those picks improve, or if they are all just for nothing and Charlotte makes their own pick every time.
Or tell us if they even still have them.
True. But how do you trade that?
Yeah, the more you trade them, the more confusing it gets because it's like, okay, well, now it's the second most favorable of these like 5 teams.
Let's even pretend that, and I know some people are saying this was a move to set up the big move, and they're going to go after Jaylen Brown or something like that. Can you imagine approaching the Celtics and saying, like, listen, we'll give you the first you're looking for. It is going to be either our own or the second best out of Utah, Cleveland, Minnesota, and us in 2029, unless we are the second best, in which case you can have the second or third. Like, what are we doing?
It's largely what I don't like about the NBA is all the crazy protections and all of these pick swaps, as well as like you get stuff like bird rights and the multiple aprons. And it's like it's way too complex. This is why vastly prefer the NHL's cap structure to the NBA's. Granted, the NBA has more money coming in and out, so there's more that comes along with that, but a simple hard cap and maybe simplifying these protections would help a lot, as well as I know you and Adam Gold were talking before the show. The reason they have to do all these ridiculous pick swaps is because you can't trade consecutive years of first-round picks.
Yes. I very much want every team to be treated like an adult. If you want to trade away every first-round pick your team owns for forever into the future, you're an adult. Let them do it. I hate all this. You can't trade away back-to-back first-round picks, and you can't trade picks away for 7-8 years into the future, whatever the rule is. Like, this is billion-dollar business. If you're reckless, your boss is going to take care of that. And if your boss allows it, then it's on them. Billion-dollar businesses, and the NBA is still going like, let's put up bumpers just in case they throw a gutter ball. No. So instead we're left with this, which, like, oh, do you like the LaMelo trade? I have no clue. It's gambling. You're gambling that the Hornets will be better than Minnesota in 2028. If it's a good gamble, it could be a really good gamble. If the Hornets make the Eastern Conference Finals and Minnesota is picking third, that's an unbelievable value. But that's a gamble that's going to happen. Gosh forbid an injury occurs to one of the players you're building around, and now you have a top pick, and that pick swap is worth nothing for you. Absolutely nothing. So here's my breakdown of the LaMelo trade. Actions speak louder than words, okay? They've sung praises about LaMelo Ball for a long time. This action tells me I don't think they're comfortable with him as a foundational piece. And for better or worse, going back to, like, I remember reading an article on The Ringer about the Ball family when LaMelo, I think he was in like 6th grade. Like, it was a long time ago. They had a Facebook reality show. Lonzo Ball's a big time. Remember LiAngelo Ball when he was stranded overseas because he stole sunglasses? Like, this is a famous group. And in sports, in locker rooms, sometimes that works against you. Like, you can't imagine LaMelo Ball being the 5th most important player on the Charlotte Hornets because of what he has meant to them already and because of how famous he is. I think it works against aging free agents sometime. I remember, like, Adrian Peterson kept working out to try to make the NFL, and I was going, like, it's really tough. Because if you have, a second-year running back who's not super heralded and you want him to be the leader of that running back room, you bring Adrian Peterson in. Is Adrian Peterson not going to be the first guy up in running back drills? Like, it's tough, right? So LaMelo Ball has some of that. And if you don't think he is a foundational piece, if you think Brandon Miller and Con Knipple are the two you want to build around, or if you think Kobe White should be the guy with the ball in his hands most often, or if you think your 18th overall pick, Christian Anderson, is better suited to distributing to everybody else and getting everybody else going, then you kind of have to move LaMelo Ball. And if you're not confident in the foundation, if you're not confident in the ground that you're building on, which would be your foundational players, you can pretend like you're further along in a build than you are. It's almost like do it now so you don't have to do it later. Because worst case scenario is you think a team under LaMelo Ball tops out as the 6 seed, tops out as the 5 seed, and then you go become the 5 seed and have to make this move. And Hornets fans have already bought in even more so than now. Max, I know you have some friends. The reaction, I know you have some friends that are giant Hornets fans. I obviously know you have some friends. Should have finished that sentence.
Appreciate that.
I know you have some friends that are some giant Hornets fans that are reacting aggressively to this trade. Imagine how aggressively they'd be reacting if next year you make it out of the play-in and maybe make it to a Game 7 of the first round. Even if you lose, then you have to look to move LaMelo Ball because now there's only 2 years left on his contract. Maybe he's indicated he's not signing with you, and it feels like you're blowing up something that's 4 more steps down the road than you are now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it seemed like he was happy to be in Charlotte. To me, what this trade really indicates, and I do think they could have gotten a little bit more in return, although I do really like Naz Reid as a player and have thought he would be a great fit in the 4 spot for the Hornets and maybe at times playing the 5, but to me, it really just says I don't think they believe he can stay healthy. I don't think that they believe that this past season is a trend towards the future where he played 72 games. I think they're considering it more likely that he's back under 50 games like he has been the previous 3 seasons before this past year. And it's hard to say whether or not that's going to pay off. Again, we're not going to know until a few years into the future and we see a couple seasons and see if he's able to be available for a majority of those games. But I don't know, just the way it played out with them kind of quickly going from they're in talks, like fielding, like listening on a quote-unquote aggressive offers, which I don't know if I'd consider this package they got to be an aggressive offer or not. How quickly it turned around, I think they were just ready to move on and clean the slate a little bit.
Maybe the best grade for this trade would be incomplete. What it is a flex from Jeff Peterson, the GM. Because what he is saying is give me a bunch of currency and I will go turn it into a better team. Right now, the way that the Hornets sit looking forward for first-round picks only, this upcoming year they have their own first, they have a lottery-protected first from the Heat, and they have a top 2 protected first from the Mavericks. The next year, they have the first and swap rights with Minnesota. That's part of this trade. In 2029, they have their own first, as well as the least favorable of Utah, Cleveland, and Minnesota's first via the Mark Williams trade. 2030, they have the first with Minnesota swap rights. 2031, they have their own first. 2032, they have a first with the Minnesota swap rights. And then they have 2 firsts in 2033, one of them with the Minnesota swap rights. So, or no, not even Minnesota swap rights. That's just the Minnesota. Exactly. So they have a lot of first-round picks. I doubt they're going to make all of those picks. Those aren't just going to sit in the cupboard until draft night of all those picks or of all those days. So it's the GM saying, take away my statistically productive, often injured, high-profile point guard. Give me a bunch of things I can spend on players, and I'll go get more valuable there. I'll go get a better team with that currency.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't necessarily doubt that all those picks don't make it to the end of this offseason because I think there are more moves to come to bolster the roster for this upcoming season because I think they saw how good that team was down the stretch, and while LaMelo was a huge part and was the engine of that offense, I think they know that they can take these assets, this stockpile that they've built up, and get another veteran or experienced NBA player. They also have like a $40 million trade exception, too, that they could use to acquire somebody on a pretty big contract. So I think they will utilize all of those assets to the best of their ability.
So trade grade incomplete, right? It all comes down to, I guess, how much you trust Jeff Peterson, their GM. Because what was it? The Robert Griffin III trade. We're going way back now. When Washington traded, there was $1 billion picks to move up to number 2 and draft Robert Griffin III. And I think the next year, maybe his rookie year, the Rams, who traded away the pick, and Washington played, and the Rams, I think it was the Rams, still in St. Louis, for captains, sent out like 8 dudes. And it was all players that were picked in the trade with Robert Griffin. And it was like a flex at the time. And then looking back, like none of them got second second contracts.
None of them were very good.
And it was like an impressive trade haul. Like the picks were a ton, and it just didn't amount to anything. Now, maybe lucky for the Rams, RG3 also got hurt, so it ended up being like, trade a problem for a problem.
Classic lose-lose.
But you get 1 million picks, there's no guarantee you're going to do something with them. Now, if they go spin it and trade for Jaylen Brown, I think everybody's going to go nuts in the other direction and be overestimating how good they can be, but we'll see.
I want to put this out there now, though. Let's start the campaign. Hornets versus Timberwolves on Christmas Day. Hornets have never gotten a Christmas Day game.
Christmas Day is about national intrigue, and I don't know if this
I think people are intrigued nationally about this trade.
I don't know about that one. Anthony Edwards, people are interested in, but I don't know. We'll see. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, football at 4. Today and yesterday and the day before has been about unexpected trades. NHL unexpected trades, NBA unexpected trades, NHL unexpected trade rumors. Well, if we look at the football side of things, what unexpected trade could be coming the Panthers' way? Stick around.
Hey friends, Paul Lyhander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. And on the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and, your bet goes with them, but not anymore. We've got this thing now called FanDuel's Super Sub. That's right, Super Sub. Eat that one up, folks. If your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. So if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute with FanDuel's Super Sub. Say it with me again. FanDuel's Super Sub. So you're in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul and get started now. FanDuel.com/Paul. That's Paul with a capital P. FanDuel's Super Sub. Just another reason to dig in with FanDuel. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. I've been scouting these big carriers for a minute now, and I've seen them pull the same play 1,000 times. They promise you the world, then hit you with a price hike right when the game gets tight. But Boost Mobile, their $25 a month unlimited wireless plan is the most consistent player on the floor. No contracts, no price hikes. Unlock the savings today at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months of the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Refresh your yard this summer with 4th of July savings from the Home Depot. Choose your power starting at $99 with tools from trusted names like Ryobi and Milwaukee. From backyard get-togethers to end-of-summer upgrades, 4th of July savings on cordless tools deliver the power and mobility to keep up with every job without slowing you down. Power on the go is here, and summer projects are easier than ever with the Home Depot. While supplies last, see store or online for details.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. You can feel the heat out there this afternoon. Definitely increasing over yesterday. A high of 92 and a bit more humid as well. Overnight tonight, mainly clear with a low of 70. Definitely more muggy for the start of tomorrow. And it's going to be a hot Friday with highs in the mid-90s and a good chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 72 points today to 51,920.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you go back to, I would say, Monday, and I showed you, like, I'm talking about like some time travel stuff, and from right now, I zoom back to Monday and I show them the rundown for this show. And we're talking about Nikishin trades in the NHL. We're reacting to trades in the NHL that are maybe even crazier than that, right? Jordan Kyrou on the move. Alex Tuck's now in Washington. We can go on and on. Zach Werenski is going to be talking to the Columbus Blue Jackets after the draft on his future. And then on top of that, you look and you go, wait, LaMelo Ball to Minnesota. I'm not saying let's go back 2 years. I'm saying let's go back a week. And all of that completely flabbergasts you. Floors you, jaw on the ground. So I thought, if there's stuff surprising us about the Canes and the NHL, and there's stuff surprising us about the NBA, even the draft order, right? Isaiah Evans, Henry Vesar, second rounders, Malik Brown being drafted over Henry Vesar. I didn't even mention this earlier. Tyler Nickel, who started his career at UNC, drafted above Henry Vesar. Granted, he went to Virginia Tech and then Vanderbilt and had a nice little Vanderbilt career, but they look like different beasts to me. Right, if we're looking to do the impossible, which would be expect the unexpected, right? By nature of being unpredictable, it's impossible to predict, but we're going to try. If the Carolina Panthers make a trade that nobody sees coming, let's try to see it coming. What would be the trade? And Max, I've tasked you with coming up with one. All right, I'm getting the nod. I'll go first, though. I'll bat lead off this time. Obviously everything changes once camp gets started, right? If somebody gets injured and you have to make a trade to replace that injury, that's hard to predict, but it's also very easy to predict once it happens. So prior to camp and no injuries being the motivating factor, what if they traded Taylor Moton? Because we've talked a lot, and that's obviously the right tackle, and he's I believe the longest tenured outside of J.J. Jansen, the long snapper on the Panthers. And I'll even expand it to Taylor Moton or one of the guards for this reason. We've talked a lot about who's going to start at left tackle. Is it going to be Rasheed Walker? Is it going to be Monroe Freeling? Is it going to be their number one first-round draft pick, Monroe Freeling? Is it going to be this bargain basement left tackle they got who has 48 career starts with Green Bay? Is it going to be Freeling? Is it going to be Walker? What if they show up and they're both studs? And you feel dumb having one on the bench? And Taylor Moton, who's getting older, is a player who will never have as much value as he does right now, and then you could play both Walker and Freeling. Again, I don't think they will, but if I'm looking for something completely unexpected, that might be the move. And you may be saying, well, what happens if Rasheed Walker's only on a 1-year deal? Why would you trust him with right tackle? The idea would be if Ike Ekwonu can be healthy enough and you're more excited about him, then you give him a year to figure it out and then have him slot in at right tackle the next year with Freeling at left. Or you can mix in the guards with the same option being if you think that Ike Ekwonu is better suited to knock inside once healthy, then you almost say like we'll eat a year of either Ike not being ready till halfway through and we'll figure it out, or if Ike's some kind of wonderkin recovery guy based off a really tough injury for a guy his size, maybe it's earlier than halfway through. I don't expect it, and offensive line depth is something you always need, but you can play that into the league as well. Everybody needs offensive line depth, and if you're willing, perhaps. If you're willing, perhaps you go into the market, get a little bidding war started. Tackles are worth $1 billion trillion, and you might be able to get something back significant to a roster that still has a lot of holes. Maybe the one thing that the Panthers and Hornets have in common, and it's difficult to go cross-sport with these analogies, but maybe the one thing they have in common is that they both showed flashes of maybe being better than they actually are last year, particularly towards the end. Right? The Hornets getting one step away from the playoffs. The Panthers actually getting into the playoffs, but doing so with a losing record. Like they both, fans might think they're further along than the front office. Front office might think they need more work and more time to get better. Maybe. Again, I'm not predicting this. It's if an unpredictable trade were to happen, what might you prepare for? With that being said, if this does happen, I'm taking victory laps, even though I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen. That's called hypocrisy. Max, if you had to predict the completely out of the blue trade, the LaMelo Ball, we're going to learn at 11 p.m. that they're shopping him, and the next morning he's going to be trade for the Carolina Panthers, what would it be?
I was thinking maybe in theory you could do something centered around, and maybe it wouldn't happen because of this injury, but Ike Ekwonu, right? So you draft offensive line depth, and it's interesting that we both went offensive line here. You draft offensive line depth in Monroe Freeling. You got Rasheed Walker in free agency from the Green Bay Packers. Do you try to package a former first-round tackle who's played pretty well in his NFL career so far? He's still young.
At times.
At times, yes, so there's a caveat there. Do you package him with maybe draft picks or another roster player to go and try to get a splashy offensive playmaker? We're going to talk about this later on the show, but the Panthers are still kind of lacking for those kind of big, explosive offensive playmakers. If you have this kind of depth at tackle, and you can never have too much depth, and again, I'm not advocating for this. This is all a purely hypothetical exercise based on all the crazy trades that are going on across sports right now. But in theory, if you have guys that can fill in that spot, why not offload one to a team that is maybe looking for a little bit more offensive line help? Maybe a struggling team, and this is just a theoretical, and it wouldn't be just like a one-to-one trade, but like I think about a guy like Devon Achane with the Miami Dolphins. They are nowhere close to winning anything. It's really not in their best interest to win anything over the next couple of seasons because their roster is so bereft of talent anywhere else but Devon Achane for the most part. Would it hurt to, maybe throw a young offensive lineman with some potential and some draft picks over there to try to pry him away and really make your backfield more explosive? I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. Now, the issue, teams do get in trouble overvaluing running back at times, but that's just it's just a little hypothetical. Like maybe you use that depth that you've acquired to your advantage and export some of it to increase your offensive playmaking.
The issue would be Icky's going into the final year of his contract this year, and he's not healthy. So he would almost have to prove that he's healthy to be worth something in the trade market, and that's tough to do without games being played. And he's making a decent amount on that fifth-year option.
In theory, then, you could pluck any one of and you wouldn't want to trade away the guy that you just drafted in Monroe Freeling. So I guess in theory it'd be Rasheed Walker, who you also just signed to a one-year deal. But, if you have the depth, if you have a surplus at that position, you can utilize that in a trade.
Rasheed Walker, I don't even know if that one's completely out of left field because he's super affordable. And if Monroe Freeling wins the job, somebody always needs a starting tackle. And I think that would be more of an injury replacement where if a team who is win now has a major contributor tackle go down with an injury that's going to cost them 2 or 3 months, that's where Rasheed Walker comes in. If you're already not going to play him, if you're already expecting Moton on the right and Freeling on the left, perhaps that's where a move would happen. But I don't that's if you have depth at an important position, affordable depth especially, that's always a possibility once camps get started. My point is this. These teams, they're not fully finished. There's no team, even if the Carolina Hurricanes, who just won the Stanley Cup and did so in 19 games, they went 16-3 in the postseason and railroaded most of their opponents, especially once they got clicking, right? Finished with 3 straight wins against Vegas, 4 straight wins against Montreal, swept their first 2 opponents. If even they are looking around and saying, I think we can get better, even if that means trading somebody that fans don't want to be traded, and I'm not saying they are trading Nikishin, but there's been enough smoke out there that they're at least considering it. If even the Carolina Hurricanes are considering surprising us with a trade, we shouldn't have been surprised that the Hornets surprised us. We should have expected them to be turning over every stone trying to get better. We should have expected it. And we should expect the Carolina Panthers to be doing the same. If the Canes will, anyone will. That's the way I look at it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That being said, if it doesn't happen, we never suggested it. Because we didn't really. This is an exercise. Everyone that's going to yell at us on social media, we didn't really. Just It's a thought exercise. If you have a good unexpected trade, I need to remind you to do this more. If you have a good unexpected trade, something you're like, you'll never see this coming, but there's a hint of logic, you can send it to us on our YouTube live stream comments, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe while you're there. Check out the live stream. Jump in the live chat. Let us know something. Don't make it something obvious. Don't make it, hey, we got a veteran with 2 years left on a contract and a position where you have a bunch of young studs. We might move him for a fifth. That's not going to surprise us. Give us something real.
Yeah, hop in the YouTube chat to make your voice heard. We're going to have a feedback frenzy later in this hour. So leave your comments in there after you hit subscribe. Of course, we're getting closer and closer to 25,000 subscribers on the 99.9 The Fan YouTube. So go there, hit subscribe, hop in the chat. You can see all our videos and everything on there, and never miss anything live on YouTube.
Shout out to Jeff, who DM'd me this on Twitter, so maybe I'll just leave it at Jeff. He might not want to know. He says if Gretzky can get traded, anybody can get traded.
Absolutely.
Expect the unexpected is essentially what he's getting at there. Luka can get traded.
That wasn't even that long ago. What was that, like 14 months ago?
If those guys are getting
months?
traded, we shouldn't be surprised anybody can be traded. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, we have the cons and cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to a potential Alexander Nikishin trade? Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I think it's fair to speculate what version of him you're going to get. And that's why I don't think that Giannis had a year to waste when it comes to his career mortality, which is why Boston would have been the more attractive destination. There's a lot of pressure for Giannis to deliver in Miami, and I'm not quite sure that he's going to have the supporting cast to do it in year one.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here for Men's Health Month. And for Men's Health Month, we are joined by Dr. Jonathan Chappell, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon from Wake Orthopedics. Doctor, can you start with some of the most common injuries you see in men coming into your facilities?
We most commonly see an uptick in the male population in fractures and tendon injuries. Fractures are things like collarbone fractures or wrist fractures, usually with certain sports like mountain biking or skiing or snowboarding. Injuries of the tendons like rotator cuffs and the biceps tendon and the Achilles tendon are often also associated with sports. So there's a lot of jump, starting, and stopping can lead to these tendon injuries. If you have an injury and you feel a pop, or you have immediate swelling, immediate pain in a joint and you can't bear weight, or you notice a deformity, these are circumstances you should probably see someone at an urgent care like Wake Orthopedic Urgent Care or at Wake Med to seek help right away.
For more information on men's health, this Men's Health Month, and all around the calendar, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that is wakemed.org.
Leaves, water, debris. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. There are a lot of things that can wreak havoc on your commercial property, and we are proud to be there for our dedicated customers that depend on us. From helping to design and build the roof for new construction, to maintenance, repair, and replacements, we've got the experience that you can count on. At RoofWorks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Visit us at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Okay, goodness. I'm I know that was just like an absolute pause when we were coming on air. I saw a tweet from Frank Saravalli, covers the NHL, that when you're just skimming and trying to read right before you go on air, I thought it said John Carlson had been traded in exchange for a pick, and I was like, oh, we got to figure this out. Preference of the Ducks is to move the rights to John Carlson in exchange for a pick. So, make sure you read the whole thing, and there's more after that. But that's why sounded like I just had like a giant hiccup or something coming out of break. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The NHL trade world has been crazy. I think part of it is what we've talked about, which is the player empowerment era, right? So it used to be players got traded when teams thought it was best. Now you can say there's going to be twice as many trades because players will be traded when teams think it's best, or if players think it's best, because players can force their way around, and it's just going to be a trickle-down effect of more and more. You could also say there are probably less than a handful, we'll generously say a handful of teams that are far and away in the lead in the NHL, and everybody else has to work extra hard and maybe take a few more chances to try to chase them down. But either way, with the draft being tomorrow, there's been a ton of activity this week. And one thing I know about the Carolina Hurricanes, after hearing Tom Dundon on Spitting Chicklets earlier, the podcast, after hearing Eric Tolsky over the last year and change, having on this show, is if a particular market, meaning a particular position, is drawing a lot of attention, they're going to get involved. They are a value-based front office. If there is value to be had, they are going to explore. And because of that, we've seen some young defensemen get paid, by paid, I mean draw in trades a boatload of value, and then on top of that, get paid a bunch. So I don't think it's a surprise that with that going on, with the Bowen Byram going on, with a few others, that Alexander Nikishin has been brought up quite a bit. And I'm talking about the insiders, and we're hearing Darren Dreger saying there's upwards of 6 teams that have been kind of in the mix for Alexander Nikishin. Keep in mind he is a restricted free agent, so Carolina is weighing trading the rights to signing him to an extension that obviously he and his people would have to agree to. So with that as the baseline, with that as the table setting, let's play a game of cons and cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
So this is kind of along lines with our show's obsession with accountability. Say it early, right? Say it before the trade happens, and then you can have some credibility when you react a certain way after the trade, if it happens. If you say, I'd be cool with Nikishin getting traded, and then he gets traded and you're trying to get clicks, so you yell, I hate this trade, why would they move him? You lose accountability. So we're looking for, what are you most confident in, and what are you most concerned about a potential Alexander Nikishin trade? As always, I got good news and bad news. Which do you want first? You always start with the bad news, so we start with the concerns. Max, why don't you go ahead and lead off? What are you most concerned about when it comes to a potential Alexander Nikishin trade?
You're always going to be concerned, especially with the Carolina Hurricanes, about trading away physicality and size. This is something that used to plague them a lot more. It's a little bit better with the current iteration of the roster with, Keandre Miller's there. William Carrier up front brings that physical edge as well. Jordan Staal, of course, is the mainstay of actually, up front having size and not being afraid necessarily to use it. But you never want to trade away talented, big defensemen that can skate well. Alexander Nikishin is all of those things. And I wouldn't want them to get smaller. Now, they've kind of bucked the trend, especially with a lot of the forwards like Logan Stankoven, Jackson Blake. You don't need everybody to be these kind of big physical players, but you need a certain number of them, and I think specifically on defense, it helps to have that size. That's how Vegas won a couple of years ago. That's how Florida's won their cups, because they have these kind of big defensemen that are also mobile. So trading away that size and physicality would be a concern for me.
That's always, you could run that. That's the greatest hit right there, talking about the Carolina Hurricanes roster building and saying they need more size. That's bringing back an oldie but a goodie. But you are correct. He does bring, like, it's like, I don't know if he understands how physical he can be. My favorite hits that Alexander Nikishin has had, for the most part, are reverse hits, where someone tries to hit him, and he's just like, like a bug on the windshield. He's like, oh, what was that? And meanwhile, they're flat on their back. That's, again, a context thing, because it's like, who is your sixth defenseman? If you move Alexander Nikishin, they could easily bring back or bring in or bring up somebody with some physicality and see where that goes. My concern, I went social with it. He's obviously boys with Svech and Kochetkov, right? Like the Russians on the team have bound together. And at the parade, who ripped off Svech's shirt? It was Alexander Nikishin, right? And I've never been, and maybe someone out there can talk about this better than I can. I've never been a player due to my sport going to another country, but I imagine you really latch on to the players that come from the same country as you do, that share a culture, share experience. And moving Nikishin from that group, perhaps it just kind of throws off the balance in that locker room a little bit. Not to say that Svech and Kochetkov don't have other friends, because they do. They're very popular, it appears. But still, there's only a few people that understand your experience, and I think he's one of them. Now let's get to the more fun part. What are you confident in? What would you be excited for if you hear an Alexander Nikishin trade?
Whatever the return is. It's been rumored, Elliot Friedman said, I think it was on some version of Sportsnet Radio today, but Carolina's looking to get at least a player back in whatever deal, so they're not just going to try to stock up on draft pick assets. They're going to try to get a good NHL player to replace Alexander Nikishin, and he had a good rookie year. There's no doubt about that. Obviously had some big moments, and it's exciting to watch. I know I love watching Alexander Nikishin play, and my preference is that they can get an extension done and keep him around. But Eric Tulsky does not lose in these trade deals. So any deal they get back, the return is going to be pretty good, and it's going to be another good, exciting player that's going to be one that we'll want to have on the Hurricanes roster. So I'm confident that the return will be just as valuable, if not somehow more so, than Alexander Nikishin.
The last time we went through this, every time you mentioned a Nikishin trade or even the possibility of a Nikishin trade, Canes fans went wild, similar to what's happening now. They get mad. But it was the Quinn Hughes situation, right, where he was looking for a new spot, and perhaps Nikishin was included in those conversations. Everything's rumored when it comes to trade negotiations. But I do remember during the Olympics, Quinn Hughes hit the I think it was against Sweden, wow, the overtime game winner, and just screaming like, "That's why you include Nikishin. Oh, yeah. That's why, because he's really good."
There has been another trade that just went through in the NHL. Another Russian player whose last name starts with N, but is not Alexander Nikishin. Valerian Nichushkin just got traded from Colorado to Columbus.
Just continues to be crazy. Continues to be. Do we know what the trade is?
According to Elliot Friedman, draft pick return, as I understand it, is his post on that.
All right. I mean, Columbus making moves without knowing the future of Werenski seems crazy, but they just got Nichushkin. All right, but going back to what I was saying, I don't think you float Nikishin out there for scrubs. And even when Darren Dreger says like 6+ teams are in the mix, that could all be their interest, right? That's not to say there are 6 teams out there that have even made an offer that piques the interest of the Canes at all. So I agree with you that the return should be exciting. My confidence is this, and this was not my original wording. I saw it online and on social media, and I liked it, so I've been using it. I'd rather stick my hand in a beehive than disagree with the Canes on a defenseman's evaluation. Like, if Alexander Nikishin is traded, or his restricted free agency rights are traded, how is that any different than blindly trusting them when they trade for somebody like Keandre Miller? Right? There's this saying that goes around that says, and it's tongue-in-cheek, but I firmly believe it. If the Canes want to trade for one of your defensemen, you should say no, you should hang up, and you should figure out how you're misusing that defenseman, right? Because they're bringing him in with expectations that he is going to level up a bunch. How is the exact opposite with the same logic not, if they trade away a defenseman, you should assume they just traded away a defenseman at the peak of their value? The Canes do an exceptional job evaluating defensemen. So if they trade away Alexander Nikishin, I would be bummed. I've been kind of infatuated with his potential from the moment he stepped on North American soil. But at the same time, I am not naive enough, I am not arrogant enough to think that my extremely layman's opinion of a player is anywhere near the opinion of the Carolina Hurricanes front office in evaluating defensemen. So if I'm bummed and I don't like the deal, but they do, I'm very much deferring to them, right? And hopefully we're all smart enough in any area of life to have that type of humility, right? If I'm cooking and my buddy is a chef and I'm just somebody that dabbles with the grill on the weekends and he walks up and goes, hey, you should flip those, I'm not going to be like, well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but twice a month I get out here and really cook up a storm. No, it's like if you're the expert, yeah, I'm flipping them, boom. So if they want to trade Alexander Nikishin, even if they get back an underwhelming return, if I'm going like, that is an awful trade, that's the equivalent of me looking at my buddy that's a chef and going, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna sprinkle some cheese on this bad boy and call it done. Like it's you have to understand that is one of the things they are experts at. Now they want to trade a forward or something, that's where my expertise comes in, and I trump them entirely. Hopefully you know my sarcasm. They're good at defensemen. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Return for Valeri Nichushkin from the Avalanche, coming from the Blue Jackets to the Avalanche. Second-round pick, third-round pick, and a fifth-round pick.
Is his contract overwhelming? Is that a little bit of a dump there?
I think he makes like I'll look it up here in a
second.
second.
We don't have to.
Off the top of my head, he makes like $7 million, but I don't know if that's right.
We don't
let
have
me
to
double check.
litigate a Colorado to Columbus trade too much, but there is a.
There are implications there. There are implications. Colorado's now offloaded Jack Drury and Valeri Nichushkin over the last couple of days, clearing salary. Look, Dylan Larkin is a center. They could use center depth over there. Just something to monitor.
I mean, they are definitely a buyer.
And Columbus is a division.
Because they're selling, meaning Colorado, because they're selling a player or two, does not mean they are sellers. They are still definitely
Well, I'm not
buyer.
saying they're sellers, but I'm just saying there's implications there.
No, I mean, like, by the time this offseason is done, I think what they buy will outweigh what they sell. So the more and more and more they sell, that means the more and more and more they will end up buying, because they obviously are. I mean, they were best team in the league this year during the regular season. Like they are a wagon, and they have some players that definitely are in the window to win right now.
Nichushkin has, I believe, 4 years left, 6.125 AAV.
That's not going to kill you, but it's still dumping salary, especially when you're only getting back picks. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If any other NHL trades come across the wire, we will make sure you hear about them. In the meantime, there's an article that comes out once a year on ESPN as we transition to the football side of things. Bill Barnwell. Bill Barnwell is the writer. If you're unfamiliar with Bill Barnwell, he is deep into – he's kind of one of the first into a lot of analytics writing. Very in-depth writer, makes a lot of lists for ESPN, a lot of rankings. And one that he does every single year is the ranking of offensive playmakers. Now, I want to be clear here. The kind of title of the article goes back to a time pre-considering quarterbacks playmakers. So a quarterback is not included, right? Back in the day where you had your quarterback and you had your playmakers, I don't think this would be the same in an era where you have Lamar Jackson and even going back to Cam Newton. Like those players are playmakers also. But for the purposes of this list, it is wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, gadget players. It is the weapons offensively, not the quarterback. And he ranks the entire NFL top to bottom, everyone in a list. And I have good news and I have bad news for Carolina Panthers fans out there. The good news is the Panthers have improved 3 spots from last year. The bad news is they were 31st last year. So they are 28th in sets of offensive playmakers in the NFL, according to Bill Barnwell. Now, you can disagree with Barnwell. That's fair, right? You can say, I think they're better than that. But his explanation is pretty good because he doesn't downgrade Tetairoa McMillan. He actually hypes up Tedero McMillan. He doesn't knock Jalen Coker. He actually kind of emphasizes that he was very good once coming off of IR earlier in the year with the hamstring injury. It's everybody else that he questions. And when you are a Panther fan, when you follow the Panthers, you're prepared to defend Tedero McMillan. You're absolutely ready to defend Jalen Coker. But when you say things like, Chuba Hubbard lost his running back one job around midseason to Rico Dowdle, there's not much you can argue there, right? You could say that Chuba Hubbard was hurt and it took him a while to get back and all of those things, but running back injuries are part of the game. Jonathan Brooks, same thing. You may be optimistic and hopeful that Jonathan Brooks can come back and be a really impactful running back, but the fact of the matter is it's been over 2 years since he really played football. And then he does pile on a bit at the end with Xavier Legette, just throwing out some, rankings and things where he's outside the top 100 of wide receivers, and it gets kind of rough from there. The Panthers ranked 30th in receiving yards from their tight ends. It's a rough spot. Now, there are some reasons for optimism that Barnwell doesn't take into place or doesn't take into consideration, things like you're going to have a new offensive play caller. So there's a world where some of these guys have not been productive, particularly tight ends and maybe even in the running back room, but they've been held back by play calling. And if Dave Canales turns things over to Brad Idzik and Idzik is a more impactful play caller, they can flourish. But if you want to tell me this is a let me think. Like it's not Gladys Knight and the Pips, you know what I mean? It's not one headliner and nobody else. You ready for this? I got the example. This might be before your time, Max. Are you familiar with the band NSYNC? The boy band NSYNC? You familiar with it?
Oh, I know NSYNC.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was Justin Timberlake. You might not know the rest, right? There's Justin Timberlake, and then there was JC, and they were the two leads. Then they had the rest of the group, right? They didn't sing many leads. Joey Fatone was in there. There was Lance Bass and another one whose name is escaping me. But if you tell me that's the Panthers, they have like a headliner, they have another dude who is good enough to sing lead, and then just the rest of the band, I don't know if you can argue with that. Maybe the question is, how good can Bryce Young be with, if Tedero is not open, you're hoping Coker's there, and if Coker's not there, your expectations drop in a big way. If the passing game is going, it's going to have to be those two. And I'm a fan of Tommy Tremble. I'm a fan of Mitchell Evans, talking tight ends. I'm a fan, but you can't argue with the production, right? You can't argue with the production. So 28th best set of offensive playmakers, listen, let's call it a range. Let's say they're 25 plus, because you can nitpick in any direction, right? Say 28, give or take 4. If that's the case, I don't know if there's a real reason for you to get really mad at that list. Maybe make it give or take 2. Say 26 to 30. If you put the Panthers in that category, that's their tier. Can you make a strong argument that that's incorrect? And if then you acknowledge that there's a lot of logic to being 26 to 30, does that change your expectations for the Carolina Panthers this season? Because there's not many teams out there that win 11 games without having really good weaponry around their quarterback. You could argue, 2015 Carolina Panthers is a good example, but Cam Newton would have been the playmaker on that group. Right, look at those wide receivers, and there's not a lot there. But even Greg Olsen and a few others, they had, some top end guys. That would be the equivalent of the Coker and Tedero McMillan. So they have a top end, but they might be a little top heavy, which is an issue there. And Bill Barnwell would agree. Don't take it up with me, take it up with Bill. How about that one? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have to take some time here to talk about the biggest soccer tournament in the world. Although this is anticlimactic. The United States plays tonight, late night, by the way, 10 p.m. Max, they are playing Turkiye This was one that I was told to circle before the tournament. When the groups were revealed and I was like, all right, who's the guy? USA versus Turkiye was supposed to be like, this is the one that's going to decide everything. Turns out to just Turkiye stink. They're already eliminated. The United States already wrapped up top seed in the group, and this one is just they're playing for kicks and giggles.
I think it's USMNT. We were way better than maybe some were expecting coming in. They look pretty good in those last couple tune-ups, the friendlies or exhibitions, because there's no such thing as a friendly, if we're being honest. They looked good against Senegal, looked pretty decent against Germany. Turkiye had to qualify through the playoff. Got in, were expected to be either the best, second best in the group. Now they're going to finish, I think they're going to finish bottom unless they win this one.
Well, they've lost to the other two, so I don't know how they would be better than the other two in first.
So they're going to be eliminated no matter what. So it'll be interesting to see, like, obviously guys with yellow cards aren't going to play. Christian Pulisic, it's kind of a debate as to whether he'll play or not because you want to keep him in form.
Play him for 15 minutes?
Yeah, maybe a short stint for him in the game tonight just to like get a little bit of game action so he doesn't have to go like 3 weeks between games since he only played the first half of the first game against Paraguay. But, you know, it's nice as USMNT with their history in the World Cup to be able to play basically a stress-free game tonight, be able to get some backup guys in there, get some reps. Tim Weah, who hasn't been starting, will probably get in. Gio Reyna's been coming off the bench. I think they subbed him on in like the 95th minute of the last game. Hopefully he'll get some meaningful minutes in this one to get some good reps in. And yeah, it'll just be some stress-free ball, get some reps in to prepare for the knockout stage where I think it's like 99.9% they're going to play Bosnia and Herzegovina, but I don't know how that can flip to something else. I don't think it will. So just one more tune-up before the knockout stage, and that game is on
Wednesday,
July 1st. Yeah,
correct.
so 6 days from now, they'll be playing their first knockout game, and they will be a big favorite in that one as well.
So as somebody that's paying attention, talking to somebody who watches the United States games but doesn't really pay attention to much else other than, you know, when the super-duper stars score multiple goals, what does success look like tonight for United States against Turkey?
If they can manage any kind of result, I think a draw or a win is a win for USA tonight, but
for like career World Cup stats.
Yeah,
there's
but
really
even if
there.
I don't think they've ever gotten it except for maybe in the first World Cup in 1930. I don't think they've ever gotten out of the group stage, or I don't even know what the format was in 1930, if I'm being honest with you. But in the modern World Cup, they've never gotten out of the group stage undefeated, or even with 3 wins. So would be good to see that. But again, at this point, you're playing with house money, at least in terms of this game. So. I would love to see whatever squad they put out there put up a goal or two as well at the very minimum, even if they don't come away with the result.
We finished 3rd in the 1930 World Cup?
Yeah, but that's not the World Cup as we know it.
I don't care. 3rd is 3rd. Don't take that away. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, 3rd in a World Cup. I didn't know we ever did that. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Kalshi, that tournament we were just talking about. It's the biggest soccer tournament in the world, and it has arrived. And you can trade on the entire tournament on Kalshi. You can trade every match from the opening stages, which are just about wrapping up, all the way to the final, and you can even you can even trade the eventual winner. We've talked about the United States and their percentage to win what they are trading at. What about the favorites? France, 19.7% to win it all. That means a $100 trade would pay out just under $500 if it ends up happening. If you want to go to maybe the second favorite, it is Argentina, and $100 trade would pay out about a little over $600. So there's opportunities there, even if you want to be paying attention to games other than the United States. If you want to be a bigger soccer fan than I am, feel free. And just remember, on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So it's a live market all the time. Check your app at any point in the day. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app. Use code TIMD, that's code TIMD, and you'll get $10 when you trade your first 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restriction and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory. Gambling problem, call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. We'll be back here on The Drive with a feedback frenzy. We'll hear from many of you. Stick around.
Excuse me, you think you could spare a square?
Sorry, what?
A square on your smartphone.
Oh, yeah, for the 99.9 The Fan app.
Exactly. Listen to your favorite hosts, teams, and live sports action.
The Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere.
Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
Adam with Rush Hour Karting here. The last time the Canes came as a team in race was 2006, the year they won the first cup. They came again this year, 20 years later, won the cup again. Rush Hour Karting brings out the best in people. Congratulations, Canes! We're Stanley Cup winners 2026! Woo!
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
Discover the thrill of precision and elegance with Omega at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of space, Omega's Seamaster and Speedmaster collections are crafted for those who dare to explore. With a heritage rooted in innovation and a timeless style inspired by sports, space, and cinematic legends, Omega is the gift for every adventurer. Find your perfect watch at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Raleigh's Village District. Voted Best Jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So I often tell all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. We are growing a community there every single day. And there's a bunch of new subscribers recently, by the way, during the Canes run, during so many of the podcasts and special broadcasts we've done for things like the parade. We've gained a bunch of new followers, or subscribers, I should say. And I very much appreciate that. And if you're new to subscribing to our 99.9 The Fan YouTube, you should know we do something every Thursday called a Feedback Frenzy. So the way this works, we do it every Thursday. We also sprinkle it in throughout the week, other times of the week. What we do here is whoever's producing the show, today it's Max, goes into the YouTube comments, different conversations we've had, different videos we've posted, finds his favorite, most insightful, most, I don't know, spark-worthy comments, brings them onto the air. We respond in real time. Max, what do you got?
All right, the YouTube chat is active today. We got all sorts of things. We got trade proposals. We've got some scheduling ideas. Let's see. Where do we want to start today? We're going to start with, this is pursuant to, we were talking about North Carolina and NC State scheduling a non-conference basketball game in Greensboro for this December. So the ACC does not have them play twice in conference play anymore. That schools took it upon themselves to schedule that game at the Greensboro Coliseum, I guess First Horizon Coliseum now. Matthew made a point here, and I think this is something that we kind of discussed a little bit earlier. It's like, why can't we just have a seasonal tournament with all the Carolina teams in Greensboro?
I think fans would love it. I think any commitment in the non-conference schedule that is beyond 1 year is a difficult sell to the teams because their teams are different every year. You know what I mean? Like how they're built, and they have to, as much as like we want the priority to be just our pure entertainment every year, coaches, athletic directors, they do have to put winning and making the tournament and everything like number one. So it's just, I'm not saying it'll never happen. I'm just saying it'll be I'd be surprised if any of the teams are willing to say, like, every year in perpetuity or every year for the next 8 or whatever the commitment would have to be. I think it's more of each year, let's commit to revisiting our conversations and seeing if it's right for both of us. And then hopefully the answer is yes, it's right for both of them way more often than the answer is no.
Still would love to see the Big Four tournament.
It would be awesome. Again,
rebooted in Greensboro.
Heck yeah. And by the way, if you do it retro. Bring back old logos. Have the Jumbotron project like an old style scoreboard. Like, do it all. Play music from back in the day. Throwback jerseys. Like, make it a whole thing, because it's just another way to brand it and make it bigger and better than it could be.
All right, we'll shift gears now over to the Carolina Hurricanes. We've been talking a bit about Alexander Nikishin generating some interest in the trade market. Jonathan has a trade proposal for us here in the chat. Potential trade: Seth Jarvis and Nikishin to Toronto for Austin Matthews plus picks and prospects. Makes room for Nadeau, Joel Nystrom, and Charles Alexis Legault.
Well, I want to be very clear here. I was not the one that brought up trading Seth Jarvis. I will say this, and I brought it up a little while ago. Austin Matthews' next team. It's getting close now, but it's not Carolina on the Kalshi odds. For a second there, it did look like Carolina was getting very, very likely on the Kalshi trading odds or trading line. But now Carolina is down to Austin Matthews' next team down to 17%. Maple Leafs still top, then Columbus, then San Jose, then Dallas, then Boston, then Carolina. I don't see them trading Seth Jarvis. I just don't. I think Seth Jarvis could get his shoulder fixed if he needs to. We don't get much information about injuries, and absolutely skyrocket next year, maybe an 80-point player. He's kind of been stuck the last 3 years at 67, I think is where he's been. But keep in mind, we're talking about Nikishin, trading him with all this potential, right? Whoever gets him, he's going to realize his potential. It's all about potential. Alexander Nikishin is older than Seth Jarvis. I do not see them trading Seth Jarvis.
That's crazy to think about.
It doesn't make sense.
We were waiting to come into the league forever. Meanwhile, Seth Jarvis has been on the Canes since, late 2020? Or was it, I think 2021-22 season would have been his rookie year?
It's been a long time.
So he's been around for a while, and the fact that he's older than Alexander
Players
Nikishin,
his age don't have the experience that he has. It almost never happens.
They were in the same draft class, 2020.
Yes. I believe Nikishin came in the pick that ended up being Nikishin came in the Jeff Skinner trade.
Yes, and the pick for Seth Jarvis, then it'd be very full
Patrick
circle.
Marleau. Yeah.
Very full circle if he got sent to Toronto in a trade, because that's the pick that they got for taking on Patrick Marleau's contract from the Maple Leafs.
The conditional first.
Funny full circle moment there. All right, we'll go over now to the NBA and the Charlotte Hornets, who notably earlier today traded LaMelo Ball to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Naz Reid, a whole of draft picks as well. Josh Green also went from the Hornets to the Timberwolves, by the way. I feel like that gets a little bit overlooked. Minor role player.
Minnesota now has the number 1 player, Anthony Edwards, the number 3 player, LaMelo Ball, the number 18 player, Josh Green, and the number 28 player, Jaden McDaniels, from what is that, the 2020 NBA draft?
Yeah, we were just talking about 2020 draft classes. How about that? It continues getting more and more full circle. But this was a comment from Corey in the YouTube chat. The Hornets will be bad for the next 4 years, and the Timberwolves will have the best backcourt in the league.
So Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, the best backcourt in the league, is what the contention is?
Supposedly.
Listen, they're a very talented backcourt. I think high risk might be the better usage there. Well, but there are things. It's not bad for Minnesota if LaMelo Ball stays healthy. Apparently Anthony Edwards, and I was unaware of this because he has the ball in his hand so much, is unbelievably efficient on catch and shoot threes. Like, stupidly efficient.
Might be his best skill.
So if LaMelo Ball can take the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands and then kick to him where he can either catch and shoot or catch and attack the closeout and dunk on people, Anthony Edwards will be something special. And he already is. I'm not knocking it for Minnesota, but it's obvious Charlotte didn't want LaMelo for a reason, because they didn't get a ton back. So I don't know, be cautious there. And if Carolina isn't good for the next 4 years, how is that any different? Or goodness, if Charlotte isn't any good for the next 4 years, how is that any different than the last 20?
We did have some hope there this last season. Hopefully we can maintain it. And this was another comment.
Wait. Can we quickly just address? They made it to the play-in and lost. Okay,
yeah,
they did not blow up an Eastern Conference championship team. They did not blow up a team that was knocking on the door of the finals. They got smoked in the last play-in
by
game.
The Orlando Magic,
and who then blew what is a 3-0, 3-1 lead in the next round?
Yep, scored 19 points in the second half of Game 6 against the Pistons.
Let's address it, right? They didn't exactly, throw paint on a Picasso.
Yeah. That's a lot of the reactions, and that's been my reaction to a lot of the reactions of people dooming incessantly about LaMelo Ball.
Well, my reaction to your reactions to the reactions is that your reaction was an appropriate reaction.
Yeah. Well, it could have gotten more in the trade, but I don't think it's the worst thing to trade.
Everybody follow that?
Adam from so I posted our conversation about the LaMelo Ball trade from earlier in the show. Adam commented saying, "This is 100% the right move at the right time. Who cares if he's popular? That hasn't resulted in literally anything basketball-wise. Future is still as bright as it's been in 20-plus years."
Well, let's address a few things, right? Player independent of team. He was an all-star. He does have some impressive statistics. It's not easy to turn a franchise around. He hasn't – like LaMelo Ball didn't show up to a team that was – knocking on the door of the conference championship either. You know what I mean? There's much sometimes I think it's unfair when you're like, oh, they drafted a player and he didn't turn one of the perennial worst franchises in the world into a winner immediately. The guy's no good. You can be a really good third piece on a good team. Josh Hart, obviously, he just won a championship with the Knicks, so he can say whatever he wants. But he's super self-aware. He's like, listen, I'm a good basketball player. If I'm your fourth best option on offense, you can win a championship. If I'm the second best option on your offense, you're probably not winning many games. I know my value. I'm good at what I do. LaMelo Ball probably shouldn't be the number one option on a team that's trying to win in the playoffs. Third? Now you might be talking, right? So he might not be right for Charlotte, but if you put him in Minnesota where there's some other guys who are already kind of the gravitational pull, maybe it's different. I don't think it has to be a lose-lose. It could be a win-win if those picks end up becoming something or are traded into something for the Hornets.
All right, we'll go to the gridiron now for the final few here on Feedback Frenzy.
Feedback Frenzy!
We asked the question, how many Panthers would make the NFL Top 100 earlier this week? And JC commented, snubs will be Derek Brown, Mike Jack, Trayvon Merrick, and Jalen Phillips. DB just doesn't get the respect he deserves. Mike Jack doesn't have name recognition, but he's a baller. Merrick, very underrated and even got a national article about him this offseason. And Phillips, like you said, doesn't have the sacks.
I agree with all of that. But what I will say, in addition to Mike Jackson not having the name recognition, is I think it would be difficult to justify
getting two corners from the same team.
When that team wasn't an unbelievable pass defense, right? If you were giving up fewest yards in the league and you led the league in interceptions, passing, obviously the yards I was discussing were fewest passing yards. If all of that were true, then maybe. But they're middle of the pack in most passing defense categories. So you probably have to pick one. Matter of fact, it could be a reason why J.C. Horn will be lower in the top 100 than he should be, and Mike Jackson doesn't make it because they almost split the votes because people don't think you can vote for both of them. So I agree that those snubs will happen. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that means they pretty much agree with me with who will make it, right? Because that means Tedero McMillan's in, J.C. Horn's in, Devin Lloyd's in, and obviously we already know Bryce is number 98. So I like those comments. I like the ones that just call in and agree with me while adding context.
Yeah. And one final one here.
This one's not going to be that kind, I can tell by
No,
okay.
It's more of a question than anything. This is from Mofo Fish.
Right.
Tim, I think some fun content would be, who do you think will be number one in the NFL Top 100?
Interesting. It's actually a really good question. usually I default to quarterback, but Matt Stafford being really good last year, he's older, and usually those guys just get knocked for aging. Drake May, I think, is probably his playoff held him back. So you're not looking at a quarterback. Pat Mahomes coming off an injury. Josh Allen not having the year that most expected him to have, with kind of Pat Mahomes out and Joe Burrow out and Lamar Jackson not doing his thing. So maybe it's not a quarterback. Myles Garrett, perhaps?
It's funny, is the guy who made the last comment, we were talking about who would get snubbed, he replied to the guy and said, Garrett or Stafford.
Myles Garrett would make sense. Trying to think. Wide receivers that had crazy seasons aren't seen as like all-time greats. You have to be like a Julio Jones name.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson had the J.J. McCarthy nerf on him last year.
If Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson turned in a season like Jackson Smith and Jigba did, I think they could be in the running, or Puka Nacua did. I think they could be in the running.
Could still be in that running.
I don't think
he'll
be number one. I think he'll be top 10.
He'll be top 5.
You got to do that 2 or 3 times if you're going to be number one. There weren't any. There's no like Aaron Donald interior defensive lineman that went crazy. No defensive backs had 10 interceptions. I'm going to go with Myles Garrett on that list. Boom, take that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, and that's right off the top. If I'm missing a super, is there like a super duper obvious one that I'm missing there?
I mean, I don't think so. Not that I'm thinking of. You're more of an NFL guy than I am. So.
Yeah, no, it's just when those questions get asked on air, I'm always nervous that I'm going to be like,
if you don't have it in front of you,
I'm going to be sitting here debating like Rory McIlroy or Phil Mickelson, and like someone's at home listening to their radio Tiger Woods, and I'm obviously I would agree. It's just for whatever reason they didn't pop into my brain that way. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a little feedback frenzy. Thank you to everybody that not only subscribes, but comments and passes around, shares the videos on our YouTube. If you know your friend is a giant Bryce Young fan and we have Bryce Young content, grab that share. Send it to him. We would greatly appreciate that. And that goes for every different topic that we talk about. Speaking of every different topic that we talk about, we'll hit a whole bunch of them coming up next in the starting 5 here on The Drive.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here real quick for Loan Pronto. Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people, they're only making minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. But here's what many homeowners do not realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved, and they saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you could do it all from your phone with zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows, so act now. Go to loanpronto.com, see how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Move your sports day forward.
Championships are rare, and you'll always remember June 14, 2026, when rare became reality for you and the Carolina Hurricanes. Remember the feeling when the clock hit 0 and you high-fived the person next to you. The feeling, multiply it by 1,000,000. That's the collective I told you so from Caniac Nation to every non-believer.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, bud. Why so glum?
Got laid off again.
Wow. You just can't keep a job, can you? You know what? You need to go to Sharky's.
They're hiring?
No, because they'd never hire you. Evidently, no one will. But Sharky's is a great place. We can play pool, throw darts. There's an outstanding patio, nice folks to visit with, great food. They've got it all.
Yeah, having a job isn't always cracked up to be anyway, so I'll try Sharky's.
Great decision, bud.
Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road. Maybe the greatest neighborhood bar in the world.
Hey, it's Dennis with a Men's Health Month hot tip. Want to go home a hero? Schedule a preventive CT scan at Craft Body Scan. It's an excellent preventive health tool, and if you do it without being told to, that's one less time she has to remind you to go to the doctor, so you come out looking like a champ. With just a 5-minute scan at Craft Body Scan, you can get a comprehensive cross-sectional CT view of your major organs, see if there's anything you need to address like heart disease, tumors, or conditions that your doc can't see. Then you can talk to your regular doctor and get early treatment. And if your scan comes all clear, even better. You've taken the initiative to protect your health and peace of mind for both of you. I'm telling you, this is hero stuff. Look, early detection helps save lives every day, and the Craft Body CT scan is an excellent, affordable way to get a comprehensive check. Even better, take her along. Right now, get a couple's heart and lung scan for just $99 total when you use the promo code TheFan50 at craftbodyscan.com. That's promo code TheFan50 at craftbodyscan.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. A warmer evening and night are on tap. Lows dip near 70 degrees under mostly clear skies. Friday, the heat's ramping up. Highs are in the low to mid 90s. It's partly cloudy with a chance for some late day summertime storms.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes up 71 points today to 51,920.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Today's starting five is brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's RICCI law.com. All right, let's jump into the starting five. And as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With the third pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Cameron Boozer from Duke University.
The second round of the NBA Draft took place last night. 3 players from schools here in the Triangle were drafted. Isaiah Evans out of Duke, projected first-round pick, fell to the second round where he went to the Minnesota with the third pick of the second round. Malik Brown, projected second-round pick out of Duke, went in the second round. 14th pick of the round to San Antonio. Henry Vasar, UNC, projected first-round pick, fell to the second round, ended up going with the 22nd pick of the second round to Atlanta. That is impactful in 2 ways for these guys. By the way, those landing spots I actually think are pretty good for all 3 of them as far as if you're going to go in the second round, where will you have an opportunity to fit in and style of play and everything. But falling from the first to the second, particularly for Evans and Vasar, are impactful in 2 ways. 1, rookie contracts. You're just less financially set for life in the second round than you are in the first, particularly in the lottery, the top half of the first. Second, though, it's kind of the impact of that finance and also the impact of the pick, meaning investment. GMs don't get fired for missing on a second rounder. They get fired for missing on too many first rounders. So if a first rounder looks like they're not going to work out, everybody, all hands on deck. What do they need? What special attention do they need? Is the trainer? Do we need to get the trainer? Is something going on physically? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What type of players do they need around them? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Second round pick looks like they're not working. Sometimes it's just, if we have time, we'll get to it. But send them to the G League. Like there's less there. So you have to take more of a control over your own career if you're that second rounder. I think of it as in like college sports terms, a 5-star is going to walk in and assistant coaches are going to want to all have the individual workouts with you and everything is going to be gift wrapped. But if you are a second rounder, it's almost like a walk-on where it's like, no, if you want the extra work, you're going to have to ask. Right. And it's not the exact same because obviously second round picks are still employed. But it's much more on them. So Isaiah Evans, Malik Brown, Henry Vasar, the good news is every time we've talked to Duke coaches, every time we've talked to UNC coaches, every time we've talked to anybody who's been around these 3, they appear to be made of the right stuff. They appear to have the right determination and work ethic. So them needing to depend on themselves to go figure it out isn't as big a deal as some others who might not have that maturity. Still an interesting time for them, particularly Evans and Vesar, and how they respond will be how long their career is. The reports are out there, though, that Vesar easily $5.5+ million if he stayed in college. 5.5.
I think you could easily baseline say at minimum, like $3 million at very minimum.
So that is a real. How do you respond? Because you can. I don't know about you, but if I found out I missed out on $4 million just on a decision I made, you could sulk about that for a while.
Feels like Atlanta seems like a good situation for him to start in, though.
I think
or not start, but like to start his career.
Yeah, to begin. I think all three of them ended up in spots where I would not be surprised if they have 10-year careers in the spot that drafted him. That's unlikely for a second rounder, but I would not be surprised because Isaiah Evans being a spacing shooter around the team they're putting together, huge.
Minnesota said, we're getting Isaiah Evans. We need to get him some help.
Yeah, exactly. We need to build around him appropriately. Let's go get LaMelo. Malik Brown in San Antonio, a team that is known for their fundamentals and defense. Like, if you let him patrol and switch and he has Wembanyama behind him and you tell him get deflections and if you jump a lane, then it ends up being a bad decision. You have Wemby behind you. You mix him with Castle. You mix him with Dylan Harper. You mix him with that is a defensive juggernaut. And then Vesar in Atlanta, I think he's somebody that played it's kind of unfair. I think he's better when he gets to be a little bit higher usage. And if he went to a team that's really, really good and really, really built and already has their rotation, I don't know if he would get to show that often. In Atlanta, not often, but there will be games that get away from them. And he might be able to, pair up with a former Dookie that's putting quite a surprising career together and maybe have an opportunity to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. Trae Young's not there anymore, and that guy had the ball in his hands for 40 minutes a game, so usage to go around. That is what number was that? 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
And jump shot it, rebounded by Evans. He'll lob it. Oh! Caleb Wilson.
So here's the deal, everybody. Coaches in college, and I'm talking about college basketball here, but coaches at all levels often say, control what you can control. But then when something goes against them that they can't control, they whine and complain. And coaches like, control what you can control till the ref makes a bad call. Then they're like, why did they make a bad call? Shout out to Michael Malone, head coach of UNC basketball, and Justin Gainey, head coach of NC State basketball, because they took over programs that completely out of their control the ACC messed over. The ACC put a schedule rubric in place that had it so Carolina and NC State did not play twice a year every year. That's out of the coach's control. Now, they could have whined, right? They could have just said, I took over a program in the ACC, they're not letting us play twice, But instead, the two programs got together and they said, let's control what we can control. Let's fix the ACC's mistake. And I don't think it's fully fixed, but they're making a step in the right direction. Carolina, NC State will play this year twice, even though the ACC only has one conference game between the two. They'll play in Greensboro. It'll be a non-conference game. And that's fantastic on their behalf. It's messed up on the ACC's behalf that they had to do this, but hopefully this shows the ACC how important these rivalry games are. Because it's not necessarily smart scheduling to play this game. Because the ACC is going to get a 50% non-conference win percentage out of it, right? Someone's going to lose, someone's going to win, and they're both going to count against the ACC. So it's a wash, and you need that. I would say like 70+% non-conference winning percentage, and this is going to hurt that. But I don't care because it gives you two versions of NC State UNC basketball. And some things are bigger than net rankings. Some things are better for sport the net rankings, and having those two teams play twice is important. Shout out to NC State and Carolina for making it work. Speaking of Greensboro, let's get to number 3.
For the first time on the road, the Carolina Hurricanes are delivering a Stanley Cup winning storm surge.
The Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes have released their preseason schedule. They will play, what do we got here? Sunday, September 20th at Florida, 7 p.m. to open the preseason. Tuesday, September 22nd versus Florida. We'll get to it. 7 p.m. home. Thursday, September 24th versus Nashville, 7 p.m. home. And Saturday, September 26th at Nashville, 3 p.m. Keep in mind, with the 84-game schedule beginning next year, you only need to have 4 exhibition games. But also, for the home September 24th game versus Nashville, versus Nashville, they're going to go to Greensboro. They're going to go to where it all began. They're going to go to the First Horizon Coliseum, which is cool, right? Because obviously preseason next year, until the banner gets raised into the rafters, there's going to be some 2026 vibes going, like the playoffs that just ended vibes going into next year. And, well, going back to Greensboro is kind of cool for that, right? Because it's where it all began in the state of North Carolina. Do you know what's going to really mess some people up, Max? At the parade, it was this way. This show broadcast from outside the Lenovo Center for a bunch of postseason games. We also did a 99.9 The Fan special broadcast of the parade. And maybe because it's been 20 years since they won or whatever, I very much got the impression that a lot of Canes fans were using all of the big events, right? All the big tailgates, the watch parties, the parade, to almost like show off how long they've been a Canes fan. Like, you know, they'd be rocking some jerseys that were players that have not been on the Canes in a very long time, or even the players that have been, like a Jordan Stahl jersey. If you can have like the versions, the logos and everything from 12 years ago, it was almost like you were showing off. And one of the things that a lot of Canes fans would come up and tell me, right? First goal scorer prediction, something like that. They'd come up and they'd go, I remember going to games in Greensboro. And I'm like, okay, first goal scorer, Logan Stankoven. And I'm just like, that whole preamble was completely irrelevant to first goal scorer. But everybody was just very proud that they had gone to games in Greensboro. If I'm a new fan, I'm going to the preseason game in Greensboro, and then in the future just going, I've been to games in Greensboro, and it's going to sound like, you know, there's no lie detected. It's not the full story, but no lie detected. It's going to give everybody else the chance to say they've been to games in Greensboro as if they've been around for a long time, even if they're a bandwagon fan that didn't even like start following until they were getting ready to sweep Philly this year. You can get some bona fides retroactively. It will be cool, though. And obviously, preseason, who knows who you're going to get? You're going to get some AHL guys. You might get some of the NHL guys. You might get a new prospect. Nobody knows. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Off goes Cancelo, delivering the cross! Ronaldo!
So, the World Cup is going on. Lionel Messi, through 2 games, in the lead for the Golden Boot. He has 5 goals through 2 games. Vinicius, am I saying that correct? Vinicius Jr. of Brazil has played 3 games. He has 4. Erling Haaland, huge Caniac, of Norway, has played 2 games. He has 4. Kylian Mbappe, France, has played 2 games. He has 4. Obviously, Vinicius Jr. is a little behind on a per game, but as far as growing the game, which is so much about what, like, these big international events, Olympics, World Cup, anything for nations, right? Anything that travels from continent to continent, a big part is growing the sport in whatever continent is hosting. It's why so many people reference Barcelona in '92, the dream team, as a reason for players like Jokic existing. All right, it's like the foreign markets picked up on the dream team during the Olympics. Boom, international. Now every MVP seems like it's somebody from another country. Is there a better way to grow the game than having Messi, Haaland, Mbappe? You played a highlight of Cristiano Ronaldo scoring. He has a couple goals. Is there a better way to grow the game than to have those players, like the few that like casual American fans know about America, having super highlights that can get everybody jacked up and locked in? Probably not, right? That's pretty darn good. We talked about America earlier, or the United States men's national team earlier. They play tonight, 10 o'clock against Turkiye, a.k.a. formerly known as Turkey. This game doesn't matter much for the World Cup. The United States men's national team has already locked up the top spot coming out of Group D. Turkiye is already eliminated. They will not make it out of Group D and into the knockout stages. So it's kind of a dress rehearsal of sorts. Turkiye will obviously be playing for pride and you know their stats in the World Cup. United States, I would expect to play some bench players and give them some real opportunities. Max, give us big picture. I know you follow. I don't know if you dabble in the gambling side, but France, Spain, Argentina, who are we looking at as the big dog favorites?
I came into this tournament thinking it would be a bit favorable for Argentina just because Messi probably feels right at home, having played in America for just about 3 years now. I think it was the summer of 2023 when he ended up coming over to play for Inter Miami. So they look good. They need some other contributions throughout the squad. He has all of their goals so far through 2 games, which he has 5, which is incredible. But they do need somebody else to contribute in terms of scoring. But you can't really put too much of that on them in the group stage since the competition is not the stiffest yet for them. And then France looks stellar. I mean, they're favorites for a reason. Mbappe is going to set all the records. He's still got to chase down Messi for now because Messi's still playing and he's still getting it done. But those two are really good. And as far as the USA is concerned, like they've looked a lot better than even I was expecting. I thought they were looking good coming into the tournament. They could make a run. They could at least get to the quarters, and it would take a lot of upsets and maybe some favorable draws. But they could even maybe pull off a miracle run to the semifinal, which would be their deepest run since the first World Cup in 1930, which again was not nearly the tournament that it is now. So would be a heck of a run for them. I'm not going to count them out because they have looked quite good so far in this tournament.
As far as games going on as we speak, I can give you updated. Ivory Coast is leading Curacao in the 57th minute. So in the second half there in Philly, 1-0. Ivory Coast over Curacao. And in the 58th minute, also in New Jersey, or also in that area of the country, in New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, Germany and Ecuador are tied 1-1. Now, is that a situation where that one doesn't matter at all?
No, it does. I think Ecuador, if they want to guarantee they're going to get through, they would need to win. If they draw, I think it's going to come down to other results. But I think they would only have 2 points in the group, so it would not be looking good for them if they can't manage to win this game.
Prior to Turkiye and United States playing at 10, there is Japan-Sweden today. There's also Tunisia versus Netherlands. And then at 10, the exact same time as the United States game, Paraguay and Australia. So that whole group's ending at the same time. Which is probably smart. All the groups probably end at the same time, right? Because way, if
so you don't know the results yet, and you just kind of go out there and give it your best, which is what you're supposed to do.
This is the same thing that happens during the Olympics, which is like I'll pick a sport that I'm into, that I'm like new to, and as soon as I understand how like the whole format works, it's over, and then I forget about it in the next 4 years. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's how the World Cup should do it. Now I understand, and then by the next World Cup, I'll be forgetting it all. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go one!
And look, I know that LaMelo is an incredibly popular player. My 8-year-old loves him, okay? I know that his game at times is very attractive. But he's struggled being healthy, and frankly, when he was their best player, the Hornets struggled as a team.
LaMelo Ball was traded from the Charlotte Hornets to the Minnesota Timberwolves today. They received, meaning the Hornets in return, received, and going with LaMelo, Jalen Green. So it's a whole thing.
Josh Green,
excuse me. Definitely not Jalen Green. Josh Green. In return, they received Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 potential first-round pick swaps, which are more complicated than I care to explain. Those are in 2028, 2029, and 2030. And they also received 3 second-round picks, which are 2029, 2032, and 2033. That's the trade. I want to explain a bit of what I think people are missing. You can think that LaMelo Ball was not good enough to be the best player on a contender and still think that Charlotte should have kept LaMelo Ball, right? There's something to be said for you can bring better players in around him and knock him down on that hierarchy, unless you believe it's a personality thing that won't work, right? It's very obvious that the Charlotte Hornets want to build around Con Knipple and Brandon Miller. This move makes that very obvious. It would have been an interesting social experiment to try to build those guys up in a way where they would have caught up to and passed LaMelo Ball in ability, impact, usage, because that's not always the easiest thing in the world, right? To see the guys that showed up when you were already established, you've already been an all-star, and have them not only help you out, but then you become the help-outer to help them. It's much easier for LaMelo to be a second fiddle, if you will, trading him to Minnesota, which is already Anthony Edwards' team, right? It's not somebody passing him. It's him slotting into where he fits on that roster. So perhaps it was that simple. Perhaps it's a social thing, like a locker room dynamics thing, where everybody kind of acknowledged LaMelo Ball is not the best player on a championship team, but he might be a really good third best player on a championship team. And it was just not going to work out where that would happen in Charlotte, and it can much more easily happen with the move to Minnesota. Right? The whole part of trades that I think people miss. Okay, and this is NHL trades are going crazy right now. NBA trades are with LaMelo going crazy right now. Sometimes I think fans only like one type of trade, and it's when their team gives up like broken pieces at the end of their roster that they want to offload, and in return they get stars. And those are the hypothetical trades everybody wants. Those don't usually exist in the real world. Some all-time bad trades in history, sure, but they don't usually exist in the real world. So what you have to do is find players that are quite literally worth more to another team than to your team. And find players that are worth more to your team than to the team they're currently on, and that's how trades make sense. LaMelo Ball as the not first option in Minnesota might just be worth more to Minnesota than he is as the first option to the Hornets, where they think they have a ceiling. And then you mix in other things like his health, right? A new team inherently has more patience with a player. If a player has been hurt a bunch of times for your team and he gets hurt again, you want to throw something against the wall. If for your team it's the first time he's been hurt, you go like, oh, that's a bummer. All right, we'll try again next year. LaMelo's been hurt a lot for Charlotte. They don't want to see him get hurt again and have to throw something against the wall. The other thing is, sometimes a hot streak makes you think you're further along than you are. Charlotte was on a heater this past year, and it was I don't even know if heater is the right word, because it was, a long time. It's not like they had a 2-week stretch. They had months where they played really, really well. But you could argue there was some magic in that team, right? I don't know if they are as good. I mean, all the stats that, Max, I'm sure you could rattle off, all the fun ones, like, this group of 5 is the best group of 5 in the NBA by offensive rating adjusted to defensive rating, blah, 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 blah. Like that. They had some of that going on. I don't think that 5 was going to be that way forever. So being ahead of it and being honest with yourself is a good move.
31-9 was the record with the LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Moussa Diabate, Con Knipple, Brandon Miller starting 5. They're
not going to win 78% of their games or whatever that is. right? It's not going to happen. So sometimes you have to be real honest with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I know we did some good things. Are we actually that good? Or was that the positive end of variance that happens in sports? And if the answer is you're not actually that good, it could be a sell high time. How many more seasons consecutively would LaMelo Ball play 72 games? Because the moment he misses the last 30, trading him away that offseason becomes much more difficult. I don't know if I like or dislike the deal because so much is undecided. Do those pick swaps come into play? Who do you take with those draft picks? Do you immediately take a bunch of that draft capital and trade it away this offseason for another big fish? Did you receive a nearly $40 million trade exception where you can trade for a much bigger named player without having to match salary? Yes, you did. How do you use that? Do you use that? It expires in a year. There's a lot of unknown here. So I'm doing my best to keep an open mind and say my grade for the trade is incomplete. See me after class. We'll talk about ways that you can get your grade up where you want it to be. Anything you'd like to add, Max? Nope. All right, he's good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was the starting five, brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com, RICCI law.com. We need numbers game contestants. Call in now if you want to play the numbers game and potentially win yourself NC Courage tickets as they take on Seattle Reign on July 4th. If you want to win the soccer tickets, you got to call in, you got to play the numbers game, and you have to win. The number, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Call in now. We need two contestants. Numbers game next.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Join me and my co-host Chris Lee from WREL TV as our podcast Panthers Playbook rolls on this offseason, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Carolina Panthers news as we break down the NFL draft, insights on free agents and prospects, plus all the inside information on the offseason. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
It is Men's Health Month, and I'm Tim Donnelly, joined by Dr. Katie Rains, urologist from Wake Med. Doctor, when it comes to prostate cancer, what types of screenings are there for men to do, and where do you find them, or where do you get them done when you're interested?
The best screening test for prostate cancer is a blood test called the PSA, or the prostate-specific antigen. And if that's high, you may be recommended to go see a urologist. There are other tests that we can do in addition to that blood test, including a digital rectal exam. That doesn't have to be done if you go see your primary care doctor to discuss a PSA, but that may be part of your workup. And then if your primary care doctor does that blood test and it is high, they may refer you to see a urologist for further testing.
Once again, it is Men's Health Month, so for answers to questions like that one and much, much more, including general information for men and their health, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that website is wakemed.org.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. But as it occasionally happens, we do have a second open line don't know if somebody dropped or what the situation is, but we have Dan in Fuquay-Varina, and we need one more. So call in now, 919-860-5326. You can be thrown straight into the fire. There's no prep you need to do, but you'll be thrown straight into the game, and the soccer tickets are still on the line. You can still win them. So 919-860-5326. I know there's a lot of you out there that talk a lot of trash to people that do play the numbers game, and then you are unwilling to call in and do it yourself because you tell me that much when we're out in public. At the parade, Stanley Cup Championship Parade, I heard it from a few of you. So 919-860-5326. Call in now. Or else we'll just roll with Dan and Fuquay, and we'll see how it goes. 919-860-5326. Looks like, there we go. Somebody has jumped on the line. At least I believe so. It looks like Max is talking on the phone. There we go. We have Adam jumping on the line. Adam in Raleigh. So we have Dan in Fuquay-Varina, Adam in Raleigh. Thank you for helping us out. Obviously, when people drop, I always feel bad for them. They wait, and then something happens, they hang up. Either way, Dan, Adam will be our contestants. We'll bring each of them onto the show, ask them the same question, and that person, Max will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first, and we'll go from there. Dan in Fuquay-Varina, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. We'll go with a real simple one here. Actually, it's not even real simple, but it's kind of fun to play. World Cup's going on, right? So you have all these European fans coming to America. They're learning about our culture and cuisine. What foreign country, America not allowed, what foreign country has the best food, where if they hosted a World Cup, you would go there and make sure you bring your appetite with you?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Mexican food. I guess Mexico.
All right, we'll go with Mexico. Any follow-ups?
Wouldn't that just be the current? Not a follow-up
question.
I
just said
that
foreign
just be the
country.
current World Cup?
The question is just a fancy way to say what foreign country has the best food.
That's fair.
So he rolled with Mexico. Let's go to Adam in Raleigh. Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, same question to you. In honor of so many European fans coming to America and experiencing our culture and cuisine, what foreign country has the food that if they were hosting a tournament, you would be most excited as a fan to go eat?
I'm going to go with Spain.
All right, a little Spanish food. Any follow-ups, Max? Nope, you're good to go. So are you rolling with Dan and Mexican food or Adam and Spanish food?
Honestly, I don't know how much Spanish food I've had in my life. What would even be a Spanish dish?
I'm thinking it would be like let me see here.
We don't even know.
Spanish cook. I was thinking paella, but I don't want to say that and then have it be wrong and have everybody laugh at me.
We're not that cultured on this show.
Croquetas? That's got to be
Spanish
food, right?
But you know what?
Like
I'll give the nod to Adam for
food,
being
maybe?
more cultured than I, and say he can go first to Spanish food. I do like Mexican food though, as Dan mentioned, but that also would just be the current World Cup.
I think the most famous, popular foods in America are like Italian and Chinese food and everything. So
Italian would have been my answer.
So
they
both went off the beaten path a little bit there. Either way, let's see here. Adam gets to go first. That's what you're rolling with. Adam, you get to go first. Dan, you'll have your chance. Just sit on hold there for a second or two. Adam, are you ready to pick your category?
Yep.
All right. The categories are NFL, Panthers only. Major League Baseball, 30-30 club, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases in a single season. NBA, played in the 2026 playoffs, or NHL, Hurricanes only?
I'm going to go MLB.
You said MLB is what you're going with?
Yeah.
All right. They're all members of the 30-30 club. These are 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases in a single season. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Shohei Ohtani, Los Angeles Dodgers.
33.
Incorrect. Bobby Witt Jr., Kansas City Royals.
8.
Incorrect. Shohei Ohtani, Los Angeles Dodgers.
30.
Incorrect. Bobby Witt Jr., Kansas City Royals.
7.
Correct. Corbin Carroll, Arizona Diamondbacks.
9.
Incorrect. Shohei Ohtani, Los Angeles Dodgers.
12.
Incorrect. Corbin Carroll, Arizona Diamondbacks. You got one. You avoided the shutout. You did get one with Bobby Witt Jr., 7. Shohei wears number 17 for the Dodgers. And Corbin Carroll should have doubled up on Bobby Witt. He is also number 7 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But as I said, you did get one. That'll be the lead in the clubhouse. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stand the line. That brings us to Dan. Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, Panthers only, NBA players that played in the 2026 playoffs, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Got to go Canes.
All right, I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Eric Robinson, Carolina Hurricanes.
50.
Say it again.
50.
Correct. Noah Philp, Carolina Hurricanes. Say it again.
Pass.
Andreas Nodal, Carolina Hurricanes. Say it again.
23.
Incorrect. Morgan Geekie, Carolina Hurricanes.
5.
Say incorrect. Noah Philp, Carolina Hurricanes. I'm not going to say you would have had it without the connections, but it was really hard to hear your guesses there. For Morgan Geekie, it was something that ended in a 5, right? That's all I heard, and I knew that it didn't end in a 5, so I said wrong. I was trying to help you out there. You got Robinson with 50, but unfortunately, 1 is only enough for a tie, and tie goes to whoever goes first. So hopefully you have some fun, and try again with maybe a slightly better cell connection. You might have a better chance, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. For those of you playing at home, Philp, 15, Nodal, 14, Geeky, we would have accepted 43 or 67. But either way, that means Adam in – I almost said Adam in Spain. Adam is our leader and our winner. Adam from Raleigh, not Adam from Spain. Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you.
All right, you have some soccer tickets coming your way. So stand the line, and Max will grab all the info he needs to make sure you get your prize.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Very welcome. I do think it's funny that all the Europeans that are here for the tournament are falling in love with American food, but it's just like chain restaurants and fast food because they love our portions, which I do too. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And that is, by the way, I need to say this more often for the numbers game. I know many of you call in, you take it seriously, and you're competitive, and I love that. But I do need to say, like, if I ever say it again, just rapid fire. Okay, if you call in and if I say it again, even if you think you enunciated everything perfectly, boom, boom, boom. Because when we go back and forth with like, what? Huh? Okay, that's just time, and time is of the essence. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Just a little advice there for you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we try to make sense of a chaotic and crazy week with still some more chaotic and crazy to come in the NHL. Stick around.
All the corner kicks, all the heart-stopping action, and all the soccer. Listen to 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports through July 19th as we bring you full coverage of soccer's biggest event. We'll have match updates, results, and news right through the championship and the awarding of the Golden Trophy. Our coverage of soccer's biggest event is presented by North Carolina Courage and Wake Orthopedics, your winning team for orthopedic care.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people are only making the minimum payment, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. But here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 28 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Squirrels, nail pops, even bullet holes. This is Holly from Roofworks, and those are some of the main things we see that cause roof leaks. It's never a bad idea to stick your head in the attic periodically and check sheetrock on the ceiling and walls. Finding problems early can save you hundreds to thousands of dollars. Roofworks wants to help you stay ahead of the game with preventative maintenance for your home or business. At Roofworks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
The world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived, and you can trade on the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Right now, the United States is trading at about 1.5% to win the whole darn thing, which means opportunity. A $10 trade will pay out about $6,000 if they go on to win the world's soccer's biggest prize. On Kalshi, you're not just waiting for that last payout if it happens. You're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code TIMD, that's TIMD, no spaces, to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on the beautiful game. 18 plus, restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and availability markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulators.
Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Sing it, Michael. Do you think there's anyone in Michael McDonald's life that calls him Mike?
Definitely.
Think there's a Mikey? Think someone out there calls him Mikey?
Maybe like a childhood friend.
I don't know. That voice is a Michael if I've ever heard one.
Michael's a really common name.
Very much so. Although, just because I've named kids recently, I think it's 7 straight years of Olivia and Owen. I think are the
Owen.
I'm
no disrespect to anyone named Owen.
I think. Let me get a quick Google search. I want to say it's like 7 straight years. Oh no, Liam. Sorry, Liam.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Liam and Olivia.
Are you sure it's not just like Brayley with an EIGH
all
and
right,
like?
All right. Hey. There are people out there that name their kids different things.
Claxton.
Claxton, is that a name you've heard often?
Like I don't know why I was thinking of Nick Claxton.
I just know there are certain names because I had like my son is 5 and my daughter is 1, so I named like there's 4 years between naming babies and you check up on the names and it's like wow, the ones that were super popular last time are still super popular. They're like the Michaels and Amandas and Katies and Johns of my generation are going to be the same, just different names for this next generation.
Tell you what, Max is still kicking as a super popular dog name.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know where you were going with that. Max is a popular dog name.
Number one boy dog name of 2025. I feel like it's number one pretty much every year.
If you go to a dog park, are you just like constantly snapping your head over your shoulder? Like,
it's weird because it's a popular dog name, and yet I don't think I've ever met a dog named Max.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's less coagulating. Like there's less condensed names. There's more variety. So you could be the most popular dog name and have like 0.4% of dogs because people go a little crazier. Either way, that's just theory on names here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Some people do really enjoy going to look at like the top northern something hockey prospects and look at their names because there's usually some unusual ones there, and it goes viral every now and then. But the NHL, that's my transition to hockey. The NHL is having a heck of a week on the trade market. What I think is interesting, and I mean, I'm not just going to rip through them all, but there have been a bunch. And some bigger names have been on the move. Some big names have been rumored to potentially be on the move. The thing that I find fascinating are the teams that they're like, it's not necessarily buyers and sellers, which is what I think we've been conditioned to for professional sports, right? A buyer has to find a team that's a seller. Like at the trade deadline, that's how it is. In the offseason, it's becoming teams just want to be different. And it's not necessarily that they're a buyer or a seller. They just want change. So you're going to see a lot of teams that do both, right? We've already seen Florida sell and buy. We've seen Ottawa sell and buy. We know that Columbus and Zach Werenski are going to get together and talk after the draft, but then Columbus today ends up trading for Nikishin. I struggle with his name. It's a really interesting situation where, like if you're the Canes and you're monitoring, right? Because the Canes don't have to do anything, okay? They just won the Stanley Cup. If they wanted to stand pat and just keep everybody under contract, they could. There's no mandate that they have to do anything, but also they've made it very obvious that they want to be in the mix if there's an opportunity for them to make their team better, right? They're a team that believes until you have the 20 best skaters in the league, there's work to be done. And they do not have the 20 best skaters in the NHL, so they're going to monitor. I don't like it. You don't like write teams off, right? You don't go like, okay, they're a buyer too. Let's not inquire. It's more, you got to monitor everybody. Like I don't know what Washington is planning on doing with Ovechkin, but they're just as liable to like sell somebody as they are, meaning to trade away a player, they're just brought in Alex Tuck and they've done a few other things. Jordan Kyrou, right? There's these teams out there that are wild cards, like true wild cards. And it's going to make for a fun NHL offseason and rest of the week, but it's also going to make for a really, really difficult to prepare for. Because, I mean, I can't think of a time when, like with Colorado, we're talking about today, right? They sold Nikishin and ended up kind of salary dumping there, but they traded away Drury, they traded away today. If they were making a splash acquisition tonight, I would not be super surprised. So looking around, like Florida bought Brady Tkachuk for big, like a pretty hefty price there. Some would say should have been more, but a pretty hefty price there. They're in cap pretzels, right? They might have to move out players that are good just in order to get a goalie under contract. Like there's so much in and out. So if I'm the Canes, like as much as you want to, if you're Eric Tulsky or somebody in that front office staff, as much as you want to go like we won the cup, we had the celebration, I'm gonna take a nap. You take a nap, you wake up, like 4 deals might be done. You have to monitor everything constantly. And now we get to the part that Canes fans aren't going to like that much. There are quite a few reports out there that the Canes have been at least in discussions about trading away Alexander Nikishin. If they had, I'm not saying this is the case, but if they had absolutely no intent on trading Alexander Nikishin, I still think it might be a good move to float that they're interested in trading Alexander Nikishin because he's a good enough player and a intriguing enough player as far as what his ceiling would be, and he's a restricted free agent, so it's plausible that you'd be interested in moving him. I think it's so you make sure every team is checking in with you too. Hey, before we make this other move, what's the price on Nikishin, right? Because they don't want to go give a boatload of money or a boatload of picks or a boatload of players for another defenseman or for another young player if they can get Alexander Nikishin for cheaper. Or if they can get Alexander Nikishin for way cheaper. So I think it's kind of smart to just let everybody know you're open for business, even if you're not open for business. Because Eric Tulsky's going to call everybody. I keep talking about it, right? That's what he does. He stays in the know for every trade. Tom Dundon, the owner, has made it clear that his mandate to Eric Tulsky is that he is in the know on as much as possible. But if you just say like, hey, for the right price, Nikishin is available, even if you have no intention on selling him, you might get informed on stuff that you didn't know was happening. Who knows? Maybe the Bowen Byram trade. Maybe they called up him and said, hey, before you do this, like, what is the real price on Alexander Nikishin? And then Eric Tulsky goes, what do you mean before you do this? What is this? What is that other thing? I'm not going to give you the Nikishin price until you tell me what else you have going on. I don't know how it works behind closed doors when they're on the phone, but I'm saying in an information gathering world, if you don't have anything to offer, people aren't going to offer you anything. By the way, that's a real Instagram job consultant move. Right? Don't just write to the person who's in the job you want to have and ask for advice. Write and provide them a service, right? Do something for them and also ask for the advice in return, right? Don't just be a leech. Be somebody providing some value. Same is true. Hey, if you promise not to move so-and-so without running, seeing if I can outbid them, I promise not to move Nikishin without seeing if you can outbid them. In the back of your head, you're going, I'm not moving Nikishin at all. So I can make good on that promise every which way to Sunday. Everything isn't always what it seems. And the last thing I'll say is this. Until a trade is made, consider the source. I talk about this in the NFL all the time. There are a few different places that a report to an insider can come. Right, so if we use Alexander Nikishin as the example here, right, and Darren Dreger appears to be the insider that is most connected, or that is at least most willing to talk about Nikishin being on the trade market. Who's talking to Dreger? I would say there's four types of people that could be the one giving him information. It could be somebody from the Canes. It could be somebody from one of the teams that is interested in Nikishin. It could be Nikishin's agent. It could be the agent of another player that wants to build the market. So when information comes out, there's nothing that says once you talk to a team about a trade, you have to go run to an insider. Anybody that runs to an insider is doing it for a reason. Okay, they want to flesh out offers. They want to build a market. They want to tamp down a market. They want to call a bluff. There's always a reason. So consider the source. Consider who might be gaining from that information. Max, you are smiling in a big way. What's going on in there?
Sorry, this is just funny. It's just funny memes on the talking about the LaMelo trade. It's off
funny
topic.
Memes? No, go. All right, now we got a couple minutes here, and I'm intrigued. What's the meme?
No,
is it one you can say on radio?
It is. So it's there are these things that happen. It happens on NBA Twitter. It happens all over internet spaces where somebody will put out kind of like a cringy post or something, and then people will take it and format it, and it's it becomes like a form letter joke. So there was one, I think, when the Jaylen Brown trade rumors are going on. It's this guy posted somebody said how is Jason Tatum gonna tell Deuce that Jaylen Brown got traded? And it's like this. it's so stupid. It's just this fake conversation. He's like, son, hey buddy, come here. I got to tell you something. He's like, and it's written in 5-year-old list. So it's like, oh, what is it, Daddy? Is it a Wode twif? And it's like, no, Uncle Jaylen, he got traded. And then it's just the last line. It's running away in tears. It's like, no, Uncle Jaylen got traded. And then it's just take that for any trade, and they just copy and paste it over. And it just makes me laugh. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it is so funny.
Super memey, super online-y. I don't know. Do you think Jaylen Brown gets traded?
Now I don't know, because that was what that came from. That was during the Giannis trade talks when they were hitting their peak right before he got moved to Miami. I don't know if that relationship is still tenable. I mean, I feel like it's hard to find a destination, right? It seemed to make a lot of sense. You could send him back.
I think people will make room for
There would be a salary match
Brown,
there with Giannis. It would have made sense. They would have gotten another star-level player. Now you have to try to find a destination, and it's also someone who's willing to give up what it costs to get a player of his caliber. So I don't know. I don't know if even Charlotte could maybe even be an option. They may
their
discuss
trade exception is not big enough.
It's
and
not big enough.
You can't compile. You can't take a player and add it to a trade exception. So it becomes a much more difficult situation. I do think that Jaylen Brown is the type of player, though, if you made him truly available, teams would find a way. I mean, he's an NBA Finals MVP. He's an all-star. He's at one point in time, if I'm not mistaken, he was the highest paid player in the NBA by total contract value. He is a top-of-the-line player. And in the NBA, there's always a GM trying to save his job. There's always a GM trying to save his job, and usually the big splash moves that maybe are a little ill-advised are from guys who are like, I need a Hail Mary anyway.
If you ask some of these people, some of these Hornets fans and LaMelo fans online, that's Jeff Peterson, I guess, even though every other move he's made has helped improve the franchise like dramatically over the last 2 years.
Just to bring it back to the LaMelo trade, sometimes a trade like LaMelo is made to almost give yourself job security. Because you say, listen, I'm thinking of the next 10 years. I'm not thinking of right now. I'm trying to build this thing to be sustainable. That's why I received a 2033 first-round pick, because I'm thinking long-term. And owners sometimes buy that. Like, okay, all right, I hear you. I do think you can get addicted to the rebuild, which might be happening with the Hornets a little bit here.
It could be. They've stockpiled a lot of draft assets.
You get addicted to thinking about what these things could turn into without ever cashing them in and turning them into something. There's definitely a possibility there. But they have enough good players that maybe not. I'm not saying that's 100%. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. United States men's national team tonight. Go USA. Taking on Turkiye. I don't care that the game doesn't matter. Win it anyway. Leave Group D undefeated. We have Overdrive coming up next. We'll be back for tomorrow's show to send you off into the weekend the correct way. Until then, can you get the Michael McDonald playing? This is Mikey McDonald playing you out. Have a great night, everybody.
Move your sports day forward.
Championships are rare, and you'll always remember June 14th, 2026, when rare became reality for you and the Carolina Hurricanes. Remember the feeling when the clock hit 0 and you high-fived the person next to you. The feeling, multiply it by 1,000,000. That's the collective I told you